Time cutting deep like a blade, it's habitual. Blow 100 bands, it's looking like a ritual. Sand running out, so I move like a criminal. Eyes bloodshot, vision locked, I'm pivotal. Sail on my wave like a pirate, I'm cursed. Smoking my sins, blow the ghost in a hearse. Lightning my wrist, it be shocking the earth. If time is money, then my watch gotta hurt. Shawty dance on a pole like a preacher. Heart cold, turn love to a creature. Devil whispering the cost of my leisure. Life's a bomb, every step it get meaner. Time ticking, gotta run it up for a flat line. Big bag, count it up, blow it like a landmine, yeah. Live fast, die young, demons in the moonlight. No rewind, ain't no second chance at this life. I've been fighting the clock, I've been ducking the reaper. Wrote my name in the book, made a deal with a demon. Looking deep in the smoke, I see all of my secrets. Ain't no mask for the pain, so I sip on the ether. More money, more envy, that's how it go. She called me Da Vinci, I paint on her throat. Time running out, so I go for the smoke. Tidal wave flex, I'm too big for the boat. Diamonds dancing, got them freezing in place. Speed racer, never see me hit brakes. Time never waits, so I never delay. Bury my ops, got them sleeping away. Time ticking, gotta run it up for a flat line. Big bag, count it up, blow it like a landmine, yeah. Live fast, die young, demons in the moonlight. No rewind, ain't no second chance at this life. Light boy. Time ticking, gotta run it up for a flat line. Big bag, count it up, blow it like a landmine, yeah. Live fast, die young, demons in the moonlight. No rewind, ain't no second chance at this life. Nah.
Good morning, TGIF. Folks, we made it. We're here. It's a Friday. Welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show. And make sure you are breaking out your most fancy of all feline-based shirts today. I highly recommend a collar because we're professionals here. This is a professional show, show made by professionals for professionals. A lot of people saying we don't take this game seriously. A lot of people saying that maybe we just need to be a bit more mature. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dudes? I have a button down on. How much more professional can you possibly, do you want me to put on a top hat at a certain point? Gets a little bit ridiculous if you ask me. But hey, folks, we are here. It's Friday. We almost survived the week. We just need to make it through one more trading session. And then, yes, the magical land of margaritas does await us. So here's the plan. We're going to be kind of breaking down some of the interesting news of this morning. And I'm going to break this into two different parts. First of all, we have some, I guess, like geopolitical drama. And for the third day in a row, we have the whole China saying we're not talking, but the U.S. saying we're talking. And that those both can't exist in reality. Either you are or you aren't talking. Trump and the U.S. side are saying, yes, we are very clearly talking, and they're tripling down on that, while we have China tripling down on the fact that they're not talking. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, they are. It's a mutually exclusive type of a scenario. Either you are or you aren't talking. So that's one side of it, from just like the news-driven information, the headline-driven information. The other side of it is more so of what we're seeing in options positioning. Captain Condor is back. Captain Condor, for those of you who don't know, it's not some sort of professional hedge fund or anything like that. It's just a very large Discord trading group. They got blown out yesterday. They came back onto the scene. They took a couple weeks off, I assume, because volatility was really high. I'm not sure why, but that's my assumption. Anyway, for the first time in a couple weeks, the Captain Condor trade was back. It's a giant iron condor trade. Call credit spread to the top side, put credit spread to the bottom side. They win if we end the day in between those bounds. That's what an iron condor play is. Anyway, they came back for the first time in a couple weeks yesterday, 10,000 contract position, and got blown out. Absolutely blown out, and they are back again today with 3x the size. They're clocking in around 30,000, and what's really interesting is now there's actually a position on top of Iron Condor, or the Iron Condor, the Captain Condor, Iron Condor position. There's a really interesting put credit spread way up in the 5,600. So I want to be kind of breaking down the actual options positioning that we're seeing, because really since the start of this week, but it became a little bit more evident on Tuesday, we are seeing a very clear shift and a continuation in said shift in the short-term expiration. When I say short-term, I'm talking throughout the week. It was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's now going into next week, the 30th, or the 1st, the 2nd, really the first couple weeks of May, not necessarily the monthly expiration, but those individual days in beforehand, the PM expirations for SPX, they're all going from put dominated to call dominated, and over the past 3 to 4 trading days, it's all been holding. In fact, it's actually getting more call dominated. Now, granted, the overall structure is still put dominated, but it's weakening. Like at one point in time, it was a gauge and it was all just put dominated. But now we're seeing it fight back. And that's more of like your monthlies and your quarterlies, like the big ones where big institutional money's at. Obviously, they still have quite a bit of protection on the table. But if you're looking at more of the shorter term stuff, well, commonly what you trade, what I trade, it is actually, it's not just call dominated now, it's getting more call dominated. So we are seeing a clear, bullish, constructive switch in the underlying options market. And obviously, we're seeing that in the price as well. If you guys watched the update video yesterday, shout out to all of you guys who do watch it. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know that I spent a little bit of time talking about not just the option structure change, which is in the short term, once again, starting to favor the bulls, but we're also seeing it in the technicals. We broke out of that high from Wednesday, April the 9th, which is when Trump made that big announcement that caused the historic game. We finally broke above that, which is kind of setting up that upside gap fill. Now, with all that being said, yes, obviously my bias in the short term is a little bit more bullish because of it, but I do want to let you know this morning, coming back to the first thing I was talking about, of the whole he said, she said, is it true, is it not true, of we are talking, but we're not talking, that type of a weird situation. We are seeing a little bit of weird, weak price action this morning. So is this just a little bit of a fake out and we make a new foundation and continue higher? Or is what happened yesterday kind of like a one-time fluke, a fake out breakout, and we're about to sell off? Obviously, hindsight bias is going to be 2020, and we're going to know a lot more when we see the opening values, and not only the opening values, but the opening options flow. Are options getting more bullish? Is the delta going up and up and up? Or is it getting weak and going down and down and down? So of course, we're going to be watching the options flow, and at some point between now and market open, also be breaking down all those key levels. Obviously, I spend a lot of my personal time every single morning looking at all the major open interest levels for the day. So I have those all ready for you. We're going to be breaking that down. I have the bull area, the bear area, the transition zone. So we're going to be going over all of that. And also just a couple side notes here and there. We are in earnings season. We heard the big ones we heard from yesterday were Intel and Alphabet, aka Google, and that's setting us up for next week where we have even more big tech names. So basically for the next 2 weeks, some of our favorite tech plays are going to be reporting on earnings. So worthwhile to pay attention to all that. I should also note that next week, since it's the first week of a new calendar month, the first Friday of every new month, you're going to get the unemployment report. So there are some major macroeconomic things coming up next week. Not so much necessarily today. Anyway, I hope that game plan sounds good to you. I would highly recommend, as many of you guys who watched the show yesterday witnessed, to survive this trading environment, you very much need to wear your luckiest shirt. So yes, I told you guys that you should be putting on your cat shirt, whatever it is, but make sure it's a lucky one, just not a normal cat shirt. That's not gonna cut it today. We're still in a very news headline driven environment. Highly recommend everyone paying attention. Highly recommend everyone paying attention. Not only puts on your cat shirt, but make sure it is a lucky one, because without a lucky one, I cannot make any promises or guarantees on how your trading is going to go today. And the only thing that's going to give you somewhat of a fighting chance, very much so, is if you have on a lucky one. I mean, I don't even know how else you would survive the market. So I don't know if you want to be trading with horseshoes. I don't know if you need to go murder a rabbit and cut off its paws. I don't even know why that's a lucky thing. Maybe if you're Irish, you need to go find a 4-leaf clover. Maybe you just need to rip a couple Guinnesses. I don't know what it is, but it's a Friday. But I'm just telling you, do whatever works for you and stack up all that luck on your side. And with that being said, let's hop into it. Stock futures slide after a 3-day winning streak. Yes, we are, to be fair, we're down, but it's down slightly, like right here. We closed at 546.64. We're about $1 below it. So are we technically below yesterday's close? Yes, we are, but it's just barely. Looking at the futures market, the 5-minute, obviously around 6 a.m. started to take a bit of a hit. The 5-minute is currently bearish, but it's close, like so is the 10-minute. And the 30-minute, this is what I find interesting, and I was kind of talking about it in the Discord every morning. Quick shameless plug, if you're not in the Discord, join up. Your first month is free. Don't forget to use that code Goonie. Every single morning, I do a full breakdown of what I'm seeing that day. And as everyone in the Discord knows, I am clearly watching this 30-minute EMA because we puked right to it and we're holding. Is it going to bounce, or are we actually going to break down? But anyway, the 4-hour, kind of that longer duration stuff, it is still holding bullish. So 5-minute, 10-minute bearish, 30-minute questionable, 4-hour still bullish. So a little bit of a mixed situation early this morning. Same thing on the NASDAQ. 5-minute, 10-minute are bearish. The 30-minute is attempting to hold, while the longer duration, the 4-hour here in the bottom right, it is still bullish. So the shortest of time frames, the momentum is obviously bearish. The medium time frame, the 4-hour, is obviously bullish, while kind of the 30-minute kind of giving us an idea of the general momentum on the day. It's right in the middle. It's very much neutral. So right now, I guess because of yesterday, and when I say because of yesterday, we are looking for this technical breakout. My bias is bullish. I'm looking for this upside gap fill to 5571, 5572. Obviously, the low from Wednesday, April the 2nd. If you need the SPY equivalent, let me switch over to whatever this low is here, 554.81. Technically, the SPY didn't get the breakout yesterday, but SPX did. If you ask me, the SPX is far more important than the SPY, just because SPX is a much more liquid, institutional heavy product. There's a lot more money behind that. So when I look at the quote unquote key levels, I care far more about SPX than I do SPY. Now, if you want to trade SPY, great, but I highly recommend you're looking at those key levels of SPX. Just a little bit of a side note there. But anyway, a little bit of a technical breakout. And because of that, 1, 2, 3 nice green days in a row, higher highs, higher lows. The general momentum on the daily chart is clearly to the upside. Once again, we're still seeing that hold on the 4-hour on both the S&P 500 and on the NASDAQ. So that's why my bias is a bit bullish. But once again, I'm not married to it. If we start to break down and this 30-minute doesn't hold and I see this cloud going a little bit red, more than happy to switch it up. And of course it could happen. In reality, we could be going anyway right now just because it's such a headline-driven environment. Trump asserts trade talks with China are underway after Beijing denies any ongoing negotiations. The U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday refuted China's claims that there were no ongoing trade discussions between Beijing and Washington. At present, there are absolutely no negotiations on the economy and trade between the China and the U.S., according to the Ministry of Commerce from China. Trump and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent this week indicated that there might be an easing in tensions with China. On top of that, Trump has straight up to our face told us that, yes, they are talking. He's told us that to our face. And also, Bessent seemed to the Treasury Secretary, he said, yeah, but on top of that, actually his commentary kind of drove the market down because he said it might take 2 to 3 years to come to a deal. And then we even have the White House press secretary saying, yeah, like we're making progress with them. So a little bit strange because on our side of it, on the U.S. side of it, they are making some sort of talks. But according to China, no. Anyway, overnight, even though they're not talking, both sides are attempting to awkwardly extend an olive branch. You know, when you're fighting with your wife or your spouse or your significant other and you're kind of just done like fighting with each other, so you decide to like, okay, like maybe do something nice, like do the dishes, or like, hey, you want to go for a coffee, or like, what do you want to do for a dinner? We're kind of in that awkward stage right now where you were fighting over something stupid. You both know it was stupid, but you're both so incredibly stubborn that you don't want to actually like talk about it. So you kind of like bring up something awkward instead. Like you were fighting all day, you're ignoring each other, kind of like that. Like you're both intentionally digging your heels in to see who can have a better cold shoulder. Like one of those situations. Like we've all been there. And if you're right now hoity-toity and chatting like, I've never done that before, shut up. We all know you've done that before. Anyway, we are very much in that awkward stage of like, okay, like maybe I should stop fighting, but like really you have too much of an ego to actually say you're sorry, so you bring up something awkward like, oh, like, are we going to Jenna's for dinner tonight still? Like, it's like super, super awkward, even though you just had a massive fight. Anyway, that's what's going on with the U.S. and China. China may exempt some U.S. goods from tariffs as costs rise. So allegedly, they're not talking, and they came up with this idea out of their own goodwill. And allegedly, even though they're not talking, the U.S. is somewhat doing the same of like, all right, we're going to bring it down to 145 in terms of the current tariff rate, and some other things are going to get even bigger benefits. So it's that awkward in between. China's government is considered suspending its 125% tariffs on some U.S. imports, including medical equipment and industrial chemicals like ethane. So that's an update that we got overnight, but still, I do want to make it very clear. China vows to ready emergency plan, signals calm amid trade war. So they're gearing up just in case it gets worse, but it seems to be more posturing, if you ask me. But once again, remember that a couple days ago, the source, a person familiar with Chinese government thinking, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not even at that level. Not only am I not a source familiar with the matter, I am not even a person familiar with Chinese government thinking. I'm just a dude in a really lucky, like dapper cat shirt. So please understand, take not only what I say with a grain of salt, if you can somehow break up that grain, I think that's the appropriate way to approach this situation.
Bloomberg understands that China is considering suspending its 125% tariffs on some U.S. imports as the economic costs of the trade war weigh heavily on certain industries. Now, goods being considered for potential exemption include medical equipment and some industrial chemicals. Meanwhile, Beijing is vowing to fully prepare emergency plans to ward against increasing external shocks. Joining us now, Brendan Murray, who coordinates our global trade coverage. So, Brendan, there seems to be a conciliatory tone from the White House, but actually China being much more tentative.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a small initial sign that China is feeling some of the economic pain. It's listening to its importers, and it sounds like it's about to offer some sort of conciliatory move to the Trump administration that would ease tensions even just a little bit. We have heard China for several weeks now pretty much ignore the U.S. Until yesterday, when they said, we will sit down with you, but you have to remove all these this very high unilateral tariff, something that the Trump administration would be unlikely to do in the short term. So they're still at an impasse apparently, but it seems like the progress is moving in the direction of de-escalation.
Brendan, what's the next step of this?
Should pop the market.
De-escalation, is there a price ground for it that we should be watching out for? We also understand that China could do a lot more on the economy.
Yeah, I think it's the ball is in Trump's court now. As he said last week, it's in China's court. China has come back and said, here are the conditions that we will that we have for negotiation. So we'll see if President Trump is willing to put his money where his mouth is when he says he'd like these talks to happen, and that's going to take, as China has demanded, a lowering of these tariffs. The economic shock from those are going to hit both Asia and the U.S. In very short order.
Brendan, what do we know about China exempting some U.S. goods from again,
this is
tariffs as costs rise? Do we know exactly what they're planning to do on what sectors or what companies?
Well, there's some key products used in Chinese manufacturing, in the manufacturing of plastics. There are and some other more heavy machinery equipment that China's companies need to maintain their production. So there's a long list of potential exemptions that's circulating, but whether those actually get carried out, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it's just a proposal.
Brendan, there's a lot of talk about the White House, if not, regretting the tariffs, actually having second thoughts on
regretting the tariffs.
Is this something that you're hearing, or is it something that's pushed by the opposition?
Yeah, it's the White House almost 4 weeks ago sort of came out with this reciprocal tariff plan that surprised the markets and economists.
Very much so. See that Rose Garden announcement?
Was going to cause
the death of me.
A decoupling of the U.S. and Chinese economies, and it was going to hit allies as well. And I think that there's some recognition that decoupling, and Treasury Secretary Bessent has said so, that decoupling is not the goal, as something less than that is, and that the U.S. will need its allies in this struggle to rebalance the U.S. economy against the Chinese economy. So it sounds like there's some deals being negotiated or talks underway to get deals on the table. That things are moving in a more dovish direction.
But are there talks? Because once again, both sides are apparently not in agreement of if they're actually talking or not. I cannot stress this enough. President Trump would consider it a victory if the U.S. 50% tariffs, if the U.S. has 50% tariffs 1 year from now. It seems like 100% tariffs are set to be reduced, but Trump plans to have some form of long-term tariffs. All right. Breaking: China and the U.S. not having any talks on tariffs, according to the Chinese embassy, which is obviously in stark contrast to China says it is not having any talks with the U.S. and that the U.S. should stop creating confusion. For the last 3 days, President Trump said multiple times that there were ongoing daily negotiations with China. Who's lying here? Now, obviously, I know we're just guessing, but hey, it's a Friday and we're allowed to do whatever we want on a Friday. No rules apply. So if you just had to guess here, do you think talks are actually happening or not? Who do you think's lying? China is saying that there's no talks happening. The U.S. is saying that talks are talking. Trump says, yes, we are chit-chatting. Xi is saying, no, we're not. If you just had to guess, and I know we're just guessing unless anyone in chat right now has like actual information, which I highly doubt it, but let's just say we're all guessing. Who do you think? Who do you think? Do you think we're getting the talks and China's the liar? Or do you think there's no talks and U.S. is the liar? Like if you had to guess, because this is kind of a binary thing. I mean, I don't see how there's much of a gray area. I don't see how there's much of wiggle room of like, oh, we kind of misinterpreted that. How could they both be lying? Alex is saying that they're both lying, but how? Wait, even Chaz is like, in this one, either you're talking or you're not. Like, this is kind of like a binary thing. I am China. We are talking. Classic. Guys, what did you put in my lungs this morning? Come on, stop it. A lot of you are saying they're both lying, and I'm confused about how that could possibly be real. Explain to me how they could both be lying. I'm curious of how that's possible. Little of both. They're probably embellishing the truth. Dude, it's binary. Either you're talking or you're not. Either you have representatives talking about trades or you don't have representatives talking about trades. I don't really necessarily see the middle room on this one. Like I don't see it. But no talks. Trump is lying. China honest. China good. China honest. China good. All right. Well, we're going to find out. On top of it, remember, there are over 180 plus other countries that are looking for trade deals. The U.S. seeks India trade deal on e-commerce, crops, and data storage. This is on top of the news that apparently they're going to cut the tariffs on Harley-Davidson. I guess that's an important bargaining chip. The U.S.-India trade agreement under discussion covers 19 categories, including market access for farm goods, e-commerce, data storage, and critical minerals. So we got some positivity there. Yesterday, we got some positivity related both to Vietnam and Norway. Actually, Vietnam might have been the day before. So obviously, we're spending quite a bit of time talking about U.S. and China, but I do want to remind you, clearly, there are other countries in play. It is important, not necessarily the trade war, but we're talking about war. After pressuring Ukraine for peace deal, Trump finally sees obstacle in Russia. So this was something where, hey, if there's some good news, this could be really good for the market, a ceasefire, but it's running into various issues. Trump appealed to Putin to halt attacks in Ukraine, expressing frustration over the lack of progress in the peace negotiations. Trump may limit U.S. involvement in peace talks if Russia and Ukraine don't reach a deal by his undisclosed deadline, literally just like ripping it, throwing a dart at the calendar and saying, you got to pick by them. Putin might placate Trump with a deal, but his desire for victory in Ukraine outweighs concerns about offending Trump. So with it, it seems like things are slowing down. For a little bit there, it seemed like we were on a pretty solid path to this whole situation being behind us. But right now we are running into a few obstacles. Now, bringing it back to specifically today, with respect to macroeconomic events, As you can see, there's nothing listed for Friday, April the 25th, but I believe we are getting some University of Michigan numbers at 10 a.m., so I highly recommend paying attention to that. Once again, 10 a.m., there's going to be a bit of a data drop. We're also in earnings season. The big thing yesterday was Intel and Alphabet. This morning, we got some updates from more of the energy sector, SLB, Phillips 66. The one that I thought was really interesting, it was what's going on with old Google. The old Google machine. Alphabet shares rise on stronger than expected revenue growth. So actually, how is that doing this morning? I kind of want to bring it up. Old Google. Old Goog. How's the Goog doing? Still holding up about 3.5% early this morning. So obviously, if you swung Google overnight, congrats to you because that is paying nicely. Not that it necessarily had earnings, but still a pretty important update. And not only is it about to report, but just kind of ties to the trade war. Apple aims to build most iPhones for US in India by the end of 2026. So we're seeing clear impacts already from what Trump is attempting to do. Now, is he trying to strengthen the US? Is he trying to just weaken China? Is he just caring about the relative difference of even if the US goes down, he just wants China to go more down? But right here, that's a big hit. I mean, and like obviously, I'm saying it's a big hit because if this is the overall sentiment of what's going on, this one individual company, yes, Apple's obviously huge. It's obviously massively important. I'm not trying to belittle that at all. But I'm saying just in general, is this what's going on? Is this the goal? Overall, just like new global order, a new global trade shift, a regime shift in how we think about global trade and kind of in anything, a step away from globalization. But I just wanted to share this because most likely when Apple reports, they're going to have a lot to say. So definitely pay attention to that one. And then finally, that brings us back to what in the world is going on today. So right now, the SPY is pretty much at its closing value from yesterday. The Qs are right below. So the S&P 500 pretty much there, pretty much unchanged, as you can see right above my head. The Nasdaq slightly down, but overall not changed. Google had earnings. Intel not looking so good yesterday. How's it doing right now? Oh, actually down 7.8. So those were the two big tech reports yesterday. So just wanted to quickly cover up on that. Remember, the 5 minutes actually testing. The 30-minute maybe actually holding. The 10-minute has a little bit to go. So obviously I'll be watching that, but more importantly, I'll be watching these key levels. So if you're in the Discord, if you've watched the show at all, you know that every single day I break down the entire options market and I kind of figure out the levels I care about. The green, the red, and the white lines are the previous trading sessions, high, low, and close. Very, very important. Not only are people going to react to them from a systematic standpoint, a psychological standpoint, they commonly overlap with key open interest levels. Very, very important. Then the yellow lines are the key open interest levels, as in that's where we see a lot of positioning within the market. And then right here, you're going to see this white box. That's what I refer to as more of the transition zone. Above it, due to the gamma and delta influences, I would say that's bullish. Below it, I would argue it's bearish. So I'd be looking for bullish opportunities up here, and I'd be looking for bearish opportunities down there. And within the zone, I'd be shrugging my shoulders saying, I have absolutely no clue what's going on. So right now, above 5475 today, based on the current setup of the open interest, I would say a bullish above it and bearish below 5450, and that 25-point zone within it, I would say we're kind of arguably within no man's land. As of right now, where are we actually scheduled to open? What value are we at? We are at 5483, so barely on top. So let's just see basically where we're opening today, if we can hold that, because if so, maybe we're bouncing off 75, and then we could once again push the closing value, take out yesterday's high, and then we're talking about 5,500. For me, if you've seen any of my trading, you know I just play it from level to level, and in between these levels, I would argue that it's no man's land. Either we're trending to one level and breaking out, we're getting rejected, or vice versa. But once again, I would say my bull target out of the gate would be yesterday's high, then 5,500, then 5,545. And I do want to show you that, yes, Captain Condor is back. If I could get this loaded up, Captain Condor is right here at 5,545. Yesterday, it was a 10,000 contract position. Today, it is a 30,000 contract position. It is, do I need to rewind a little bit just so it's, yeah, you can see it right here. Here's the call credit spread at 5,545, 30,000 contracts. And then here's the call credit spread at 5,410. So these players, it's a group, like I said, it's a Discord. They are betting that the market be within these bounds today. I do want to let you know they got blown out yesterday. And then the other thing that jumped out to me that I thought was interesting, for some reason it just disappeared, up here. You have this position was created a while ago, but you kind of saw it. It was this awkwardly spread. You have this put credit spread that is betting on the market getting above 5,675. I wanted to point it out just in case we get some sort of absurd gamma rally today, or maybe a Vanna rally or something like that. But it is sky high. So I just wanted to put that on your radar because we have Captain Condor playing, which once again, I am hoping that they get blown out again because I have a bullish position. I would love to see us rip above 5,545. But then it gets interesting all the way up here. Now, in between the Captain Condor and the position all the way up here, we do have that upside gap fill to 5,572. So those are pretty much the bullish levels I'm watching out of the gate. And right now we're kind of on the bullish side of things. But of course, there's the bear case as well. So I'll be watching those key levels. So if you want, feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to do whatever the world you want to do. But that is exactly what I'm personally watching. And then, of course, we're going to be looking at the options flow and seeing how things either do or don't align. Let me switch this up. I just want to show you, I haven't traded anything yet today. Right now, yesterday was the first day of these accounts. I made $3K on each account. I have 25 accounts. That was $75,000. Unfortunately, I can't take any of that money yet just because I haven't completed the other rules that are required. Technically, I could take some money out of take profit. I just don't quite feel like doing that yet. So hopefully, day two, we're about to start day two. Ideally, I can be patient, wait for the right information, wait for the right setup, and ideally make another chunk of money. So that's the plan, but I just wanted to show you. It wasn't like I was degenerately trading this morning or anything like that. And on that particular note, dingity ding ding ding, the world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all, play responsibly, and if not, have fun. All right, I'm already getting a breakout alert on Tesla. Tesla's having a real good start to the day. The other equity that's been looking actually really good lately is Palantir. So we're going to throw that up, and we're going to throw Tesla up. Of course, if anything else gets moving like crazy, please feel free to yell at me and let me know because I do want to put up whatever you guys find to be the most interesting. But I am attempting to be, I don't know, more of that monk-like discipline and just waiting for the perfect opportunity. So today I am going to wait for post the change of the hour. I'm going to try to find the discipline in myself to wait past 10 a.m. to be doing anything. And I should let you guys know that obviously right here, you guys see I have my Apex accounts. That 90% off deal did officially end. If you missed out on it and you're thinking, oh man, I really wanted to do that, don't you worry. Take Profit is now running a deal that is roughly the same. On Take Profit, once again, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. This one's a little bit different. So on Apex, you got 90% off the test, which made the test like $16, $17, but then it either cost $80 or $130 to upgrade it, depending on if you wanted monthly or lifetime. So obviously, depending on what that number is, you could get that total. This one's a little bit different where you could do the 30% off and it'll cost about $119, but then there's no activation fee. So in a weird way, depending on how you look at it, like, do you want the discount on the eval or the upgrade? This one might actually be better for you. So they're kind of clapping back and doing their own deal. So if I were to pick one right now based on the current cost, this is actually the one I would say. Like I said, when you get into this world of sim to funded trading, different firms at different times offer different deals. So you have to kind of be paying attention. And as of right now, I would say that Take Profit Trader, as of right now in real time, if I were to buy one, this is the one I would get. And of course, for any of these, just use that code Goonie. But if you want one, like I said, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video, you could use that code Goonie to get 30% off on that test. And then there's never an activation fee. So if you pass the test, it's basically just a free upgrade. So I just want to let you guys know about that. And other than that, let's see what's going on. We seemingly took out the high from yesterday. Remember, from the stats that we know off of Edgeful, as soon as you take out that high, which we just did, there's about a 78, depending on your time frame, there's between a 75 and an 82% chance, once again, depending on your time frame of how far you look back, that we close above the previous close. So we just took that high out. Like, we literally did it at market open. Let me just double check it on the SPY. We also did it on the SPY. There is roughly a high 70% chance that we close the day above 5485. So is it a guarantee? No, but it's very, very high odds. Like, we're pushing 80% chance that we close the day above this value. Now, that obviously would be true if we close it by a cent, or we could close it by 50, 100 points. I have no idea. But I'm just telling you right now, in terms of just basic Bayesian probabilities, the fact that we already took out yesterday's high, we just did that at market open, the chance of us closing above yesterday's close is about 80% chance, which obviously at this point, the fact that we're below it would make me bullish right here, just because I have a 4 in 5 chance to know that we're going to be closing above it. So that right there, in a nutshell, kind of shows you the extreme value of actually knowing just the actual odds of the market. No activation is a major deal compared to Apex test paying. Well, like by the time you do the math, it depends on the deal. But like I said, if I were to do one right now, if you missed out on the Apex deal, this is the one to do. Because like if you just run the finances of it to get you from before you take the test to actually trading and performance, this is actually now currently the best offer. And with it, as I said, like on my side of the camera here, I will always just tell you guys what I believe to be the best offer at that moment in time. And right now, the take profit is the best offer. And I trade max Apex accounts, which is 20. And then I also trade max take profit accounts, which is 5. Apex allows you up to 20. Take profit allows you up to 5. Once again, that is a firm to firm decision of how many they do or don't allow you to trade. It's not like it's some sort of like industry standard or anything like that. There are slightly different rules between the two. While we're waiting for the market to open, I might as well compare and contrast them. So on Apex, you can pass the test in 1 day, but then to get a payout, you have to trade for at least 8 days. Now, take profit's different. To pass the test, you have to trade for at least 5 days, but as soon as you're trading a performance, you can actually get your payout on the first day. So if you look at it, for you to get money on Apex, you technically have to trade at a minimum of 9 different days. While on take profit, you actually have to trade a minimum of 6 different days. So once again, like there's slight nuances here and there. And as you start to use it and like use the different ones, you're going to start like understanding better, internalizing the rules. But for you to like legit get money, technically, if you speed run it and you're trading really, really well, within 6 trading days, you could get a payout on take profit. Within 9 trading days, you can get a payout on Apex. And in terms of cost, like I said, it is dynamic. It ebbs and flows. It's not like the costs are set in stone or anything like that. Stream's way behind. Just move your thing up. Come on, dude. You're living in the year 2025. I think you can figure out how to move your timestamp up to like the appropriate time of the show. Palantir's looking good. I'm seeing more ASML's down a little bit. I'm surprised by that. Tesla almost had a nice daily breakout. Speaking of that, we are trying to continue with this breakout. Remember, upside gap fill on SPX 25572. The SPY equivalent here, I might as well just mark that out for you guys, is 554.81. Technically, the SPY hasn't gotten the breakout from that Wednesday high. So watching those upper targets for that upside gap fill. Tesla got a breakout alert, taking out this high from Thursday. Obviously, the next stop would be around 275. ASML not doing the most. Nvidia trying to fight back. Microsoft looking good, trying to get on the top side of its cloud. Would love that breakout of the mid 390s. Netflix is a force to be reckoned with. New all-time high. Hasn't even heard the word tariff ever before. Doesn't give a shit. Netflix, it's not getting enough love, and I wish it would, because this thing is a beast right now. An absolute beast. Year to date, Netflix is up 23%, while the NASDAQ year to date is how much? It is year to date is down 9. The SPY year to date is down 7. Once again, Netflix is a beast. This stock year to date is up 23%. Absolutely crazy. Dominant. Rum recapturing $8. Meta trying to bounce off some of that FTC investigation. MicroStrategy breaking out. Remember, this thing is it's going to be highly correlated with Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin is holding 95,000, yeah, MicroStrategy is going to look good. These are going to be hyper correlated. So don't be surprised when MicroStrategy is doing well, when Bitcoin's also having a legit breakout. Folks, I cannot express this enough. We are not that far away from a new all-time. We are 13% from an all-time high. 13% away. That's very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. So the cryptosphere obviously getting a bit of bullishness right now, and really so is the overall market. So things are looking exciting. Thus far, here's a look at the options flow out of the gate. The Mag 7, once again, the combination of Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, flat, dropped, popped, popped. The all expiration is popping. For today, it's dropping. So a little bit of a mix match there on the Mag 7. While the SPY, oh wow, the SPY is just fucking ripping, brother. It is ripping right now. Look at that. Puts are being sold. Calls are being bought. It is a bullish green utopia in the world of the S&P 500 options flow. Look at that linear regression. I know you guys get all hot and bothered when I start talking about linear regression lines, and trust me, I do too. And look at that one. Jesus. That'll make you feel some sort of way. That'll make you feel some sort of way. And if it doesn't, dude, maybe this just isn't the right show for you. Maybe this isn't just the right show for you. Tesla's getting a little bit of a pop there. What else is going? Broadcom's going. Semiconductors are looking good today. Again, they were looking pretty good yesterday. Looks like they're running it back once again today. Good open. It's a good open. 5-minute recapture went from bearish to bullish. 10-minute attempting to recapture right now, bearish to bullish. 30-minute saving itself. The 4-hour staying bullish this entire time. The NASDAQ going from bearish to bullish. The 10-minute is trying to test. The 30-minute saved itself, and the 4-hour remained bullish this entire time. So that little pre-market hit apparently was just a little fake out, I suppose. A little bit of a fake out. Are we great yet? Dude, it's not about being great. It's about all the friends you make on the way, you know? It's about all those friends that you make on the way. Dude, I cannot get over how strong that option flow is. If the Mag 7 can pick up, I think we're off to the races, because the SPY, it's going flat now after a nice pump. It looks like all of the options are probably going flat. Yeah, puts are flat and calls are now flat. So let's just wait. I do want to remind you, maybe don't front run things today, because we do have an announcement at 10. Maybe it's bullish, maybe it's not. I have absolutely no clue. So I'm personally just waiting for that. And just to prove to you I'm waiting for it, especially if you're joining the show right. Oh, we just got up to VWAP. That's this weird white dash line. That is the volume weighted average price. I like to know it just because I've read some studies in the past that there's a lot of bot systems on Wall Street that react to hitting it and being above it and being below it. So I just throw it up on my chart to generically know if we're in the bullish territory or in the bearish territory. And for me, I like to know when these things align. Are we above or below VWAP? Are we above or below the EMAs? Are we above or below my transitional zone? If everything is aligning, it makes it pretty evident to be on the one side of the trade. And then if it's mismatched, like, okay, you're above the transition zone, but the EMAs aren't looking good and you're at VWAP. Okay, like you kind of understand that maybe sometimes it's like mix and match and you just have to wait a little bit more. That is totally possible. And in fact, it happens a lot. But then you get into those environments where everything is aligning one way. Option flow is going up. Price momentum is going up. Price structure is going up. You're on the right side of the transition zone. You're on the proper side of VWAP. Well, okay, when everything aligns, that's telling you like, yeah, hell, you should probably be on that side. So just a quick breakdown of your life is going to be far easier, in my opinion, if you're on that right side of the overall trend. If you are on the right side of the overall trend, I find that you get far luckier. Like yesterday when you guys were yelling at me to take my profits and it went up, came down, went up, came down, and it was like a 2-hour battle. It felt like I was reeling in a fucking blue whale. It ended up working out, and I find that you get luckier. Yeah, if you guys want to call it luck, call it luck. But I find that you get far luckier when you're on the right side of the overall trends, checking price structure, price momentum, options flow, and then also looking at that transitional zone in the options market. I find that when everything is aligning on that one side, far, far better. People are saying that we are streaming to 20,000 people right now on Rumble. Well, that makes it a little bit awkward. I assume a lot of you guys are new, so maybe I should introduce myself. My name is Matt. I'm a degenerate gambler in the stock market. I enjoy long walks on the beach. I cry in the shower more often than I would like to admit, and I already admitted a lot, which tells you how much more often I cry in the shower. I'm now the age of 30, and I've noticed that I'm not as flexible as I used to be, both physically, especially in my hamstrings, but also mentally. I find that my brain works a lot slower. Trying to think of anything else pertinent about my life. One time in 3rd grade, I got Music Student of the Month. It was a cool little paper certificate that I believe my mom is still in possession of. And I think that's kind of where I peaked. I know a lot of people talk about peaking in high school. I know a lot of people talk about peaking in college. But I just, man, the dopamine hit when my music teacher in 3rd grade selected me for music student of the month. I mean, folks, what are the odds? There's only 12 months in the year, and 3 of those months you're not even in school. So I only had 9 opportunities to bag this award, and I did it with just pure perseverance, determination. And it's actually more impressive because I am the least musically inclined person that you're ever going to meet. If you want to hear me sing, I mean, that's just, it might as well be a human rights violation to have me ripping it, because I am not the person you want singing. I am definitely not the person you want singing whatsoever. So I would say that's where I peaked. 3rd grade, that ripe age of 8. And ever since then, it's been kind of downhill. More so recently, I would say it's speeding up. The velocity, the acceleration of which I'm going downhill, it's getting worse. And at a certain point, I'm just wondering if I'm ever going to find a bottom, you know? I wonder if I'm ever just going to bottom. Like, because like if you're ripping it downhill, eventually you have to find the bottom. But it feels like I'm on Mount Everest, Mount Vesuvius. Is that a big mountain? Does anyone know? I also had another generic trivia question for you guys that I thought of this morning that I really wanted the answer to, but it's now escaping me. But once again, that's just an example of me becoming an old withered man and my brain just breaking down. And that's just marriage. It could be. It could be. All right, cool. The first 15 minutes have passed, which means we have the 15-minute Orbo. If you don't know what the Orbo is, it's the opening range breakout and or opening range breakdown. So basically, you could do it for whatever time frame you want. The 15-minute, the 30-minute, and the 60-minute are by far the most popular. For some reason, the 60-minute is called the initial balance, but it's literally the exact same thing. You just let that first bar of the day pass, as in the first 50 minutes or the first 30, and then you look at the high and the low of that bar. So as of right now, we are officially 15 minutes into the day. So we have the 15-minute Orbo. We have that high, we have that low. We have that high, we have that low. I like to pay attention to it. I've traded it in the past. I would say if you are arbitrarily trading that strategy, you're probably not going to be net profitable in the long run, but you can be if you add a couple other filters to it. Like, for example, are you taking the Orbo breakout and is it in line with the options flow? Because if the options agree with the Orbo breakout, you're probably going to have a better time. So it's little things like that that you might want to check a couple things and not just always arbitrarily taking that trade, like regardless of anything else. The 5-minute went from bearish to bullish, came down, we're testing. 10-minute tried to break out, getting smacked. The 30 minutes holding bullish. So I'm kind of watching this 10-minute bar here. Can it actually reverse and get on top of the cloud? Same thing in the NASDAQ. The 5-minute tried to break out. It's forcing a retest right now. The 30 minutes holding bullish, but it's this 10-minute that is seemingly getting smacked. So let's pay close attention to that. We could come back to the daily chart later, and then here we are with the we might be just testing this transition zone. So out of the gate, we touched the top of this transition zone, which theoretically should act as support, but let's see how the market really wants to play it. We went all the way up, got smacked early at 5,498. We didn't quite test 5,500. A clear reaction to that, people obviously just taking their profits, and I could actually quantifiably show you that they took their profits right here. Remember, the 0 DTE is the green candles, as in those calls started to get sold. They were bought, and then you can see right here at 940, they started to get sold. That is the definition of profits being locked in, and they did it right at a key level. Can you really blame them? And then a little bit later, you actually had people starting to get some puts, and for whatever reason, right now, they're actually more aggressively getting puts. Will that trend continue? Your guess is as good as mine, but I could tell you this price drop is 100% because at 946.35, the delta just started to get absolutely goosed. The Mag 7, same thing. As soon as the SPX almost hit 5,500, you just see the delta completely drop. Granted, it had a nice bounce, and right now it's arguably in no man's land, but that's just kind of where we're at. So we just made a fresh low. We're breaking to the downside on that 15-minute Orbo on the SPY. The NASDAQ, the Qs have not yet broken that level. Once again, I told you guys that I am not trading before 10 a.m. because I know there's a 10 a.m. announcement. And recently I've noticed that when I trade before 10 a.m., I kind of end up losing a lot of money. So I'm trying to not do it. We doing a payday Friday today. Wow. To be completely honest, I completely forgot about it. That's a very fair question, Diamond Dallas. I guess not, because once again, I'm an old man and I forget things. So I guess we could just double it next week, make it double the fun. Who is he? He is Matt, and he loves XRP. Oh, you're just rage baiting me. I'm not going to fall for that, Mr. Dickens, if that is your real name. Dude, these people who like Ripple, they're just some of the fucking biggest clowns, the biggest clowns out there. All right, the 5 minutes breaking down, the 10-minute clearly rejected. Let's see if the 30-minute can hold. Basically, for this stuff to hold, we want this recent low that we just made to kind of be the low. Like, we don't really want it to go much more, especially because we're right on top of this transition zone. So hopefully we can get a bounce right out of this. There's a good chance of it just because this is a key open interest level, and also mechanically the market makers are going to start hedging their book differently within this zone. So this shift in structure might offer a bit of support. So I would not be mad at all if we actually bounce right out of this. Called this level out right before stream open. Like literally I did this breakdown, these transition zones. Once again, to not get too nerdy into the math, it just basically relates to the difference in gamma. And here I could show you GEX. GEX is the gamma exposure. I'll have to zoom in a little bit more so you can see some of these recent prices, but it's literally just a mathematical switch between positive and negative gamma based on a certain time frame. But obviously you can see the biggest gamma influences of the day are that Captain Condor position that is all the way up here at, once again, 5545. Write that down, remember it. And all the way down here at 5410. Write that down and remember that. So we're just waiting. I'm hoping it could bounce out of here. I am biased to the bullish side just because we were on top of the transitional zone. So when we're up here, I'm definitely going to be bullish biased. When we're down here, I'm going to be bearish biased. And when we're in the middle, I'm just going to be ripping it, flipping a coin with all of you guys of who's right and who's wrong. But the fact that we opened up here, we know that edgeful stat, as soon as you break this high, there is about a 78% chance. Really, it's between the mid 70s and the low 80s, depending on your time frame, that we close above the previous closing. So as soon as we broke that, which we did out of the gate, we knew right there, based on Bayesian probabilities, that we have about a 4 in 5 chance of closing above 5485. So knowing we're on top of the transitional zone, knowing that we got a nice daily bar breakout yesterday, I would say that the overall flow is favoring the bulls. But just because the bulls are favored, I cannot stress this enough. This doesn't mean that they're guaranteed to win. I think it's going to come much more down to this 10 a.m. report. So with that being said, we have like an awkward 8 minutes and some change to kill. 8 minutes and change. 8 minutes and change. Turn up your mic. I don't know, just turn up your ears, dude. That's a you problem. I can see that I'm coming across at roughly 6 decibels, which is what the optimized one is supposed to be. I really felt your pain and disappointment yesterday when you explained that Captain Condor was just a Discord group. Yeah, it makes me respect that position a lot less, knowing that it's just a random ass Discord group. I have, maybe they're profitable, maybe they're not. I have no commentary on that whatsoever. They might be a great group. They might be a horrible group. All I can tell you is they blew out a couple $1 million yesterday in aggregate. Whenever I get quoted a price in USD, I always ask the biller, how much is that in XRP? Well, that's probably very annoying for you to do. That's not a reasonable way to engage in society. Not a trade, but does anyone realize how good a deal KRP is right now? Price history, dividend plan for retirement. What is KRP? What in the world is KRP? I don't understand. Matt is a duck in a human suit. How dare you say that? How dare you say that? All right, if you guys are just joining in now, obviously do not forget to smash that like button. That's probably the most important thing you could do today besides telling your mom that you love her. So arguably it's the second most important thing you could do today. And other than that, just patience. Patience is going to pay today. I strongly believe that. I don't think that there's necessarily a trade set up quite yet today because we are waiting for that 10 a.m. announcement. So don't rush anything because probably not only is there a data drop, but recently over the past 2 or 3 weeks, we've been seeing clear amounts of trades hitting the tape right past 10 a.m. And sometimes those might favor you and push the trend in your favor. Or if you're like me and you're most likely unlucky, it'll probably completely demolish your position. So let's just wait. Let's just wait. You don't need to rush it. patience is going to pay. The market's going to be open for the remainder of the day. There's a lot of time left in today's trading session. And there's also going to be, the market's going to be open on Monday. And if you want to degenerately trade, the futures market, or excuse me, the crypto market's open over the weekend. So you're going to get a lot of action. You don't need to be rushing. You don't need all these undecided candles. Yeah, the craziest commentary we've had in a while. Like, it's an undecided candle. Technically, every candle is an undecided candle until it's made, and then it's done. All these undecided candles, like, oh man, you have some of these retail traders who are just taught some random thing and they think it's gospel, and they're like, yeah, that's just how the market works. So many undecided candles. I already went long. Oops. I think you're front running it. I hope you were right, because I have a long position, so I'm in no way rooting against you. But for me, just I don't want to necessarily take on that 50-50 risk of whatever this 10 a.m. announcement is. So, and then also I'm seeing the options. Options were good until about 9:40, and they're starting to get goosed right now. So I wouldn't mind if they bottom and rip. Like I said, I am rooting for you because those are my swing positions. But in terms of my day trades, well, if I already traded, I probably would have already blown out those accounts, because this is probably enough of a drawdown that I would have breached my buffer. So I'm just kind of waiting to see if this can recover. So the Mag 7 was doing nothing, and it just clearly got hit here at 951. You could see the delta just completely dumped. The S&P 500 was bullish, and then it was neutral, and then it also, so someone hit the market at 951, both on the overall market and on the Mag 7 specifically. We are seeing right at 951, someone, like, here, let's get the details of it. They bought quite a few puts. Quite a few puts were bought right at 951. And when you buy puts, you're adding negative delta to the system, hence why the delta reading drops. When the delta reading drops, that means the market makers need to less so hedge their bullish positions and more so hedge their bearish positions, as in they have to get shorts in the market to balance their book. So when the delta drops that much, you're naturally going to see price drop, because the market makers have to sell. They're either going to get out of their longs, get into shorts, or a combo of the two, depending on the size. What's the 10 a.m. announcement about? I believe it's the Michigan numbers. You know, generally on Fridays, you get an announcement at 10 a.m. It's just like a normal data drop. But those normal data drops definitely can have an impact on the market, which is not only like specifically why I'm waiting for that today, but as we talked about 2 days ago, I've noticed that my current trading system, for a while, it was great trading when I turned it on at 9:45. But over the past month to 6 weeks, it has performed quite a bit better waiting till after 10 a.m. So giving it another, 20-minute pause or something like that. And I think it has to do just with the cadence of these data drops, the volatility of the market, like letting some of the vol die off. But I would love, you see this downsloping trend line that we have right now, just these lower highs and these lower lows. I would love for that trend to break. Your risk is the recent low, and then we ride it all the way up. To me, that would be like the perfect trade of the day. Of course, I would want to see us get on top of back of this area, because right here, this is that transitional choppy area based on the options market in real time. So I would love for us to take out this high that we just saw at 951, because remember, that's when the delta dropped in the Mag 7 and in the S&P 500. So if the market basically can recover above that level, it's basically telling that trader that they were wrong and saying, no, the equilibrium is above whatever you prompted it to do, because that player hit the market, caused us to drop more. We haven't really recovered quite yet. So I would like the market to, or the market participants to be like, nope, you are obviously wrong, brother. So that's what I'm waiting for. I haven't made any trades yet today. We are just in this no man, choppy zone, just waiting, trying to not rush it. I'm not seeing any breaking news quite yet. I do have up my news feed. This is from Canada's PM Carney. I have not looked directly at whether to remove federal luxury tax. I don't even know what he's talking about. The market on open imbalance was negative on both the S&P 500 and the Dow, but it was positive on the NASDAQ and the Mag 7. So a little bit of a mixed deal there. 25% pharma tariffs would increase U.S. drug costs by $51 billion annually. Report commissioned by the industry's U.S. trade group. Pharma tariffs would raise U.S. prices by as much as 12.9% if fully passed on. So we're getting a little bit of pharma news, but overall, as of right now, the major news of the day is China is continually saying that they are not talking with the U.S., and the U.S. is continually saying we are talking with China. So we're going to find out who's the liar. We're going to find out who's the truther. Actually, we will probably never find out, and they'll both probably go to their grave saying that they were right. From a technical standpoint, yes, we broke down into the transitional zone. And on top of that, we broke to the south side of the 15-minute Orbo. So remember, the first 15-minute bar, you mark out the high, the low, and we just broke down on that on the SPY at 9:47. And then at 9:51, we broke down on that on the Qs. So I prefer to wait for the 30-minute Orbo. I don't really have a good reason for why. I think the stats and the odds surrounding it are a bit better. I know that when you break the 15-minute Orbo, the chance of you breaking the other side at some point in that trading session is literally 50-50. So as soon as we broke to the south side of this Orbo, you have literally a 50-50 shot of breaking the other one. So is it a guarantee? No, you're literally flipping a coin. But when I pair that stat together with the fact that I know there's an 80% shot that we close above 546.64, I kind of do like the odds of the recovery, but I cannot express this enough. I am biased on the day, whether consciously or subconsciously. I do have a swing bullish position on right now, so I might be seeing things that are not there, or I might be missing things on the bearish side that are legitimately there. So I just kind of want to let you know about my own potential bias on the day. But yes, the Mag 7 clearly got smashed. There was a huge spike in volume, got smashed, and we're trying to recover from that. Right now, the options flow is going flat. And then the S&P 500, same thing. 951, someone smashed it. We bottomed, we popped, and now we're going sideways. Just waiting up for literally for this 10 a.m. announcement, which is seemingly bullish on initial reaction. Let's see if it holds. What were the exact numbers? Let me get them for you as soon as they come out. But obviously, like I said, this is why we wait for these announcements, because they can clearly have an impact on the market. If you were bullish, congrats to you. If you were bearish, RIP. Right here, University of Michigan sentiment final actual 52.2. The forecast was 50.5. University of Michigan 1-year inflation was 6.5. The forecast was 6.8, coming in cooler than expected. And then sentiment was 52.2. The forecast was 50.5. So sentiment coming in higher than expected. Inflation expectations coming in lower than expected. That's exactly why we bounced. And that's exactly why we popped right out of this transitional zone back into the bullish side of things. That was a legitimately bullish update. So I'm not so surprised that we are starting to pop off of it. Oh, I could 20. That's a 2K risk. If I go long right now, I would have a 2K risk. It is a legitimate bullish breakout. How do the options market look? How did they react to that? I assume a pop. Yep, look at the Mag 7 popped. Look at the S&P 500 also popped. I'm going to be, we ran right up to VWAP. I'm looking for a pullback and then a bounce off a higher low that I can get long into, and then I'll be looking for the break of VWAP. But we just got the Michigan numbers. They were good. This reaction makes sense. Let's just see if the movement has any legs. Let's see if the movement has any legs. All right, we don't need that anymore. The 1 minute back above, we were dancing around in this. We took out that high at 951. And what is going on? What in the world is going on? All right, just got to wait for that perfect opportunity. Like I said, I told you guys I was bullish, and now I'm just, is this it? See, we're dancing at VWAP, and I'm a little bit nervous of, is VWAP going to be resistance? Because there's been many times where I've been trading where it acts as stark resistance. We pop right up, no surprise we got rejected there. We sold off, we popped again, no surprise we got rejected there. So if you're going bullish below VWAP, it's definitely something to consider, which is why I haven't quite traded yet, because I wouldn't mind like a 20-point pullback. I wouldn't mind getting in at 300 instead of 330. But if it takes off without me, so be it. It's all right. It's all right. I'll just cry about it in the shower later. I'm trying to not rush anything. I'm attempting to literally just be a better trader, to be a more patient trader. So we're going to see if that does or doesn't pay off for me today. Does or doesn't pay off. My bot system did fire long at 16, probably on this random rip in here on this breakout. But if I took that, I'd basically be break even right now. So I didn't because it happened very, very quickly, obviously. So I'm going to see if on our first pullback, do we make a higher low? And really maybe I should wait because the 30 minutes trying to hold bullish. The 5 minute just got rejected. The 10 minute is still bearish. The 10 minute is still bearish. I'm going to wait. I didn't realize that. I thought the 10 minute would be showing a little bit more enthusiasm right now on both ES and on NQ. So this might take off and go without me. That's totally possible. But like I said, I just don't have that much buffer to play with. So I have to be very, very confident of the trades that I take. I don't have that luxury of saying, oh, like it's kind of fine. And if it works, it works. I definitely need to be a bit more specific with my entries. And actually, we're seeing an interesting, hang on, let me double check the flow. Is the flow still strong? We popped, we pulled back, we might be popping again. The SPY, we popped, we pulled back, seemingly basing. The question is this going to pop again? That is the golden question. We bought right off that 15-minute Orbo. We were battling it out at both the close and the high of yesterday on the Qs, while the SPY is battling it out at that closing value. Remember, I told you the odds. We have about an 80% chance, a 4 and 5 shot of closing the day above 5485. We're right at that transitional zone. So right here, you could kind of see it with this indicator. It's called fractals. It just maps out the recent highs and the recent lows. So out of the gate, you can see we had a higher high, but then you can see we broke that low. So we had higher highs and lower lows, and then all of a sudden we had lower highs. Remember, the highs are the green carrots, while the lows are the red carrots. That makes sense. So we were trending down, lower highs, lower lows, and then right here we got equivalent lows, the same lows, but we got a fresh high. So the question is right here, are we about to make a higher low? Because if we do make a higher low, that could be a actual true trend switch, at least on this particular time frame. Remember, trends are very, very specific to the time frame that you're currently looking at. There might be one trend on the 1 minute and a different trend on the 30 minute. That is totally possible. So obviously pay attention to the time I'm looking at. But just looking at the 1 minute, we kind of were bullish. Then it broke bearish, and right here it became neutral, and then all of a sudden it kind of became questionable bullish. And it's when I say questionable, it's because we just don't know the next low yet. We haven't seen the next low painted quite yet. And the question is if we break this will right here, a perfect bounce, like literally we might be getting a perfect bounce off this transitional zone. Let's see what the follow through is going to be. The Mag 7 is trying to pick up. The S&P 500 also trying to pick up. Oh, brother. Potential little trend line breakout right here. I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. Not much risk either. I'm ripping it. Let's go Friday. TGIF. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We're off on the Kentucky Derby. We're going to see if we can go for that triple crown today. Am I in on all the positions? I am in. I just went long. I waited for the news. I waited for things to align. I waited for the trend line breakout. And then I also waited just to basically see what if I can minimize my risk. And unlike yesterday, where I had to be a little bit more risk accepting, today, because of my success yesterday, I can actually treat it as static risk. Where are we at? I am long at 335, 435, 485. This is the max profit I can go for today. Remember, that max profit is self-instilled. It is not from any of these firms. But what I'm looking for is basically for this to hold. Obviously, my risk is this recent low, and I'm looking for a pippity pop to the upside. Let's go. Let's go. The die are in the air. The market gods are in control of the position. I'm trading with the flow of the Mag 7. I'm trading with the flow of the S&P 500. The 5 minute is back bullish. The 10 minutes testing. This is the one thing of the trade that I think you could fairly critique is I'm front running this breakout. The breakout is not confirmed on the 10 minute. Same thing on the NASDAQ because the bar hasn't closed. So maybe I got lucky and front ran it and it's going to save me, like it's going to minimize my risk. But we technically have not closed up here yet. So I would say instead of being an A+ setup, this is more like an A- setup. But other than that, I like the trade. I liked the patience. I liked what I did. I waited for that higher low. I literally called this trade out before and I gave you the odds. And now we're looking at 5,500, baby. I'm going to be setting an alert right there, 5,500. Would love to hear that go off. And then from there, if we can break and hold above that, that's when we're off, really off to the races. This would be the move of the day where you can make some serious dinero. Obviously, these ranges in here are kind of tight. They're kind of small. But if we can get above and hold above 5,500, I think we can rip another 45 points, which is about $4.50 in the SPY. But I do want to clarify, the way we got rejected at this level around 940 today, do not be surprised whatsoever if this is a legit fight. That is a massively important area. My expectation is not like I would love for it to happen, but I think it would be low odds to assume that we're just going to break and rip through that and have no struggle. I think there's going to be some of these zero DTE call buyers who take their profit at that level. Now, if they don't, yeah, of course we could rip through, but that wouldn't be my base case assumption. And we're off. 35. I'm up 800. I mean, I feel like I should just set my stop to break even and just have a free lotto play at this point, which once again, I couldn't do that yesterday because of the drawdown rules, but because I've now filled out the buffer, I can trade much more to like, I mean, you guys were giving me a lot of shit yesterday of like, why didn't you just take it? Why aren't you moving up your stop? Once again, it's because you weren't understanding the difference between how the buffer worked. But now that I filled out the buffer, yes, I can be a quote unquote smart trader. And look at this, boom, free play. Free lotto play. That's whatever. If it hits me, it hits me. It's no damage to me. The worst case scenario is scratch. And then I could always re-enter, or I could just call it a day and be like, yo, today's not my lucky day. And obviously I don't necessarily like the look of it swinging back down right now, but whatever. Like my point is that it's a riskless trade. It is a riskless trade. Someone gave me a free lottery ticket and I'm playing it. If it works out, great. I make another $75,000. That is the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is nothing. It's not losing money. Look at my stop is already break even. This is the beauty of trading futures, and futures don't get enough love because like in the cultural zeitgeist, especially in the US, people talk about trading stocks and options are leveraged, blah, blah, blah. Folks, futures are a beautiful thing for various reasons, but one of the major ones is there's no pattern day trading. If you want to trade an account less than $25,000 and you want to trade 18 times a day, you can. And that, for me at least, shows up in my risk management, because when you're trading options, we've all been there before. We've all been there before where you're like, hang on, do I really want to move my stop up? Because if I get hit, that's going to be one of my trades. And do I really want to burn a trade? That entire concept of, is this trade worthwhile to burn a trade? So it makes you potentially take on more risk than you should be taking on and not really moving up your stop. That is one of the most beautiful things of futures trading. No pattern day trading. As in, yeah, okay, it goes a little bit in your favor. Move your stop to break even. If it works, it works. Obviously, for you, I hope it does. For me, I hope it does. And then if it doesn't, you protected yourself. So I truly, deeply believe that these pattern day trading rules, I deeply believe that they force you to take on more risk than you should be taking on because you don't want to burn a trade. Futures trading allows you to trade as much as you want. So I think you could actually be a better risk manager. That PDT has been fucking me. Stop talking. Bro, why would you come to the show? Did you really come to the show and you're like, I just want to silently watch someone else's charts? Because that's weird. And maybe I'm wrong on this. My base assumption is you're at the show because you want my commentary on a particular situation. It would be really, really strange because you could watch your own charts. You don't have to watch my charts. Anyway, My stop's at break even. My profit target is at 75K. That max profit target is not some big brain mathematical level that I came up with from reading the option chain or futures or anything like that. It's just a consistency rule thing where I probably shouldn't be making more than 3K a day per account. And then I have 25 accounts, which is where I'm getting the 25,000 from. All right. Anyway, it's playing out. Like I said, I'll be the first to admit this was not an A+ setup, but I would argue it was an A- setup. I told you, I gave you the transition zone. I told you to wait for the news. I called out the price momentum. I called out the trend change. I looked at the options flow with all of you folks. Like, I'm giving away the book right now. I explained it all. I mean, we even talked about Captain Condor and the levels to watch. That one's not necessarily coming into play quite yet today, but it will. I mean, hopefully it will. This is what we currently look like. There is that gamma zone because of the Captain Condor all the way up here. So the first test is 5,500. And yes, I would be expecting some sort of adverse reaction to that just because there's going to be profit taking. And on top of it, there's probably going to be bears putting in trades. It makes sense because not only would you potentially take profits there if you're holding calls because you're like, yeah, it's a key level. You don't know if it's going to get rejected. Take your money. It's a Friday and you move on with your life. I get it. Especially if you played it big here at 10:06, you ride it all the way up. You take your money and you move on with your life. That makes complete sense. On the other side of it, if you're a bear, you could create a bearish position there because if the odds of rejection are high, well, great. If it does get rejected, you get all of that money. And if you're wrong, well, you have your stop right above it. So you're not going to take that big of a hit. It's a paper cut. So it makes a lot of sense of why we get rejected at these key technical, psychological, and major open interest levels. Now, I think given enough time, like yesterday, we will break out and push. And I think it's just going to be a battle. I mean, we saw the exact same thing yesterday, just instead of being at 5,500, it was at 5,450. So it's the same thing. It's literally just at a different level. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Dude, Tesla, what the fuck? You guys didn't tell me Tesla was ripping. Powell's talking today? Tiffany, am I missing something? Someone said Powell is talking. Where does anyone know? Is Powell actually talking today? Because if so, we should stream it. Does anyone else have that? Tiffany, NVIDIA for life. Powell's at midnight. Powell's of midnight? At midnight? Powell's talking at midnight? What's he doing? Like just ripping a couple brewskis? And he's like, it's my tell-all. I'll tell you the world how it really is. He's talking at midnight? I need someone else to confirm yes or no if Powell is talking. Yay or nay? Yay or nay? Getting a little bit hit. I would prefer... Oh, remember before when I told you that there was that 50% chance that when you break one way on the 15-minute, you then break the other way? Well, apparently that's what we're seeing right now. Apparently, that's what we're seeing right now. And then in terms of the 30-minute Orbo, the highs are actually the same. The NASDAQ did break out of the top side of its 30-minute Orbo. Like just the same high as the first 15-minute was the same high as the first 30-minute. But there is a lower low now within that range. So I'll remark that. And I'll also set an alert for this breakout on the S&P 500 ETF. All right. I have an alert set for that fresh high. I'll have here. I might as well set an alert here for this fresh high as well. And we're waiting. We're waiting. It is coming dangerously close to my position, which, like I said, I'm not taking on any risk, but I don't like that it broke this wick. My fear is that it comes back to retest VWAP, wicks me out, and then goes again, which... I mean, I've seen it a million times before, which is why I'm saying it's my concern. But maybe I'll get lucky and it'll actually turn a bit earlier. But I just want to clarify, I am taking on no risk. Maybe I'll get lucky with an early bounce. And what I would actually love to see is this trend line breakout, which if you haven't, that's actually a legitimately good trade right there. Once again, you're trading with trend, you're taking a structural breakout, and you have well-defined risk. You could go long at 90, not in love with the fact that it's so close to this high. It's also close to 400. But my point is that it has well-defined risk. You're taking on a 35-point risk, which is manageable. You can live with a 35-point risk, obviously just size it accordingly. So I actually like that trade right there. I really do. And then that's just like your risk is obviously right here. So you would have entered right there. That's your risk. You don't know the next bar. If we keep going, great. And if you're wrong, okay, you have well-defined risk. And like that's something that is a survivable loss. The only thing I don't necessarily like about this is how close it is to the current intraday high, which 2 or 3 trading days ago, you guys saw me get absolutely destroyed by that one. Absolutely destroyed by doing a trade like that. Tesla is ripping. Palantir also having a great day. Meta having a pretty good day. MSTR having a great day. MSTR and Tesla are up the most on, at least on my watch list. All right, here, I'm going to set up this for a potential reversal alert. We were trending down. We got a nice bounce candle, and then that bounce candle is getting completely reverted as we speak. So not necessarily the biggest fan of that. Let's take a look at this. The S&P 500, we popped strongly till 1010. And now, even though price is coming down, options are holding flat, which is telling me that this price hit is not going to last for long just because the options are not agreeing with it. But that might not stop it from wicking me out first, which would be a pain. Looking at the Mag 7, same thing. We pumped until about 1014, and now options have gone flat. So we're getting into just like a bit of a consolidation. Look at, we just undershot this 5,500. So we just have to wait. I really do think it's going to break to the upside. My big concern is it going to wick me out first, which would be a huge pain in the ass. A huge pain in the ass. 1:20 p.m. Okay, so Powell is speaking. Yes, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell speaking at the Economic Club of Chicago. Remarks are scheduled to begin at 1:30 p.m. So someone was saying midnight, not midnight. It's the other midnight. It's the midnight of the day. The midnight of the day. Oh, should I just take my $500? That's 12.5K. I could just lock in my 12.5K right now. So, okay, here are the options. I could guarantee myself 12.5K. Well, I was saying, as I'm going over these options, this is getting dangerously close to knocking me out. Here's what's going to happen, is it's going to wick me out, and then it's going to bounce off of that, and I'm going to have to re-enter at a worse price. But I'm not taking on risk, so I'm going to let it wick. I'm not going to move my risk. It doesn't make sense. Maybe I'll get lucky, and it'll bounce right here. Maybe I'll get lucky. Come on. Can my luck shine through? Can he do it again, folks? Can Mystic Matt pull it off? Let's bounce. Let's bounce. We're flirting with danger. Come on, market gods. Bless this position. Can Mystic Matt pull it off again? He goes up about $1,000 per account. Goes up 25K. Goes back to break even. Will VWAP hold? Yes, no, maybe so. Stay tuned. We are in a high-stakes situation. We are in a high-stakes situation. Generally, when this happens, I don't get lucky. Generally, it wicks me out. That is the bottom, and then it rips. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, no. Yeah, all right. Wick me out. So, break-even trade. If that type of a situation messes with your psychology, don't trade this way. But for me, I find it's the best way to engage in the market because it gives you that opportunity of the big trend following trade. And yeah, I get wicked out often. I would say 30 to 40% of my trades end up becoming break even. So if that's not good for your psychology, don't trade that way. But for me, it's the good counterbalance of allowing me to stay in the market when there's a big trade because it's kind of like the Pareto principle that 20% of your trades are going to be almost all of your gains. And then also 20% of your trades are going to be pretty much all of your losses. So it's just, if you're that trader where like, nope, every single trade, I need to make X amount of money and I never want to take a loss, it's too rigid. You're not being flexible enough for the normal fluctuations of the market. And right here, had I not done that bit of protection, I would have been actually red right now. So that's the whole point of this, is like, it just gives you that opportunity, because you never know when the market's going to pop. You never know when it's going to drop. Pretty much every single bar, especially in this environment, is a 50-50 opportunity. It really, truly is, because you never know when we're going to get random headline risk, a random update, random pumps, random dumps, random news. When you come to news or when you come to macroeconomic drops, it's a 50-50 shot. And actually, this drop is getting pretty aggressive. What's the news here? The PBOC governor, so the the Public Bank of China governor plan will cut RRR and policy rate when needed. PBOC, or wait, is that the Public Bank of Canada? It's either Canada or no, it is China. China, something is going on with China right now. China will turn domestic demand into main growth driver. The Bank of England's green. We have no idea what U.S. tariffs will look like when the dust settles. Constrained supply side could be inflationary. So we're getting commentary from not only the Bank of England, but also the governor of the People's Bank of China. So once again, we're getting some international news that clearly in the past 3 to 4 minutes, the market did not like. But for me, I don't really care, because I protected myself. And I think that's how you do it. It's all about, I think the average retail trader is, there might be a little bit of a fake out right here. Technically, my bot is going long at 22. Do I think we could bounce out of this? Do I think that the market's overreacting? Now, this is where it's a bit of a risk for me. My bot would go long at 22. And we're popping right back up. Is this a fake out is the question. So if I go long at 22, 80, I'm risking 80 points. I'm risking half my buffer. Is it worth it to risk half the buffer? Like, is this the fake out wick? Like, just barely puncturing a new low to whip everyone out, and then we rip right back. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Is this a fake out? Is this a fake out? This is a tough call on the day of, do I want to take this trade? This is a really, really tough call on the day. Risk it for the biscuit? Well, as of right now, we're not even returning into it, so I might not even have to risk it for said biscuit. But anyway, back to the first trade. I'm actually extremely happy with it. I took the trade. I was patient. I waited for everything to align. I took the trade. I moved my stop aggressively. And unfortunately, I just got wicked out. That happens. That shit 100% happens. All right. I put an order in just in case there is a bounce right here. Just in case there is a bounce. Obviously, I'm not in yet. Not in yet. Oh, what happened there? Yeah. Whatever that news was between the Bank of England and also the People's Bank of China, we just got, I mean, you could see it right here. 1022 just dumped. Like, everything was going along pretty. What the fuck? Okay, I'm not in a position. I just got freaked out because I got some audio feedback that I was in a position, but I'm not in a position. I'm going to try to go long on this breakout, and ideally, I'm just in a little bit early because I don't want to take on this full risk of the real trade would be up here on the recapture VWAP and the trend line breakout. Here, I could probably better show you right there. That would be the quote unquote real trade. But if I get in here, it's just less risk. And then again, with less risk, you have less accuracy on the trade. But that's why I have my pending order. But I just got some auto feedback that it said like order whatever. And I was like, well, that doesn't sound so good. But I guess just to give myself a sanity check. I just want to make sure I'm not in a position. So I have traded once today, and it was a scratch trade. And I'm actually really, really happy that scratch trade, especially based on how I've been trading lately. It has not been good. So be able to admit when you're wrong, I think that is like one of the most important things of any quality trader, is just be like, nope, it's just not going my way. So I aggressively move the stop and just hit the stop. It is my preferred way to trade because it still allows you that whatever unknown X percentage chance of, if you catch that runner, well, I still had skin in the game to potentially make 75,000. And I know that there's some people of the mindset of like, why didn't you just take the money when it's up? And that is a hallmark of a retail trader who's not making money. As soon as they see a little bit of green, they take the money. As soon as they see a little bit of red, they let it grow and grow and grow. You want to flip that. When you're in a good winning trade, let it ride. And when you're in a losing trade, get out. Pull the ripcord. You almost have to invert that. So even today, I saw that commentary of like, why didn't you take it? Well, I didn't take it because what if it kept ripping? Everything was aligning for a rip. There's no way you could have predicted this news coming out at 10:20 from the Bank of England or from the People's Bank of China. Like, that is not, by definition, that is not a predictable event. So I mean, just as much as that news came out and was negative, news could have came out that was positive and caused us to rip. So because that's always in my mind, you want basically, if there's a way where for a riskless opportunity, you can still have some percentage chance of having a massive reward, of course, I'm going to take that every time. So for me, by definition, it was riskless because I moved my stop up to break even. And if it went my way, it went my way. This time it didn't. Yesterday it did. You don't know how it's going to play out. People scared of the undecided candles. Yeah, they might be. They might be. What time is it right now? 10:30. So we're almost an hour into the trading day. And how is the flow looking right now? Let me go to the 30-second. We might be able to see it a bit better. So it was bullish, then it was bearish, then it was bullish, making a new delta high. Then it started to get cracked on that news at 10:20, 10:21, which wasn't really like evident news. It was just some commentary from the Bank of England and also from China. Obviously, the market didn't react well to it. The Mag 7 looking a bit different. It was flat, got hit at 951, someone unloaded. Then we had a huge bullish rip on the Michigan numbers. And then right here at 1021, once again, this is where everything got hit. We got hit, but the Mag 7 holding better. The fact that the Mag 7 isn't bleeding still, like, I mean, you could just see we're flat, just makes me curious about which way it breaks. If it breaks to the upside, I think we're going back to really testing the high of the day. I mean, look at Tesla. Tesla's not stopping. MicroStrategy's not stopping. Folks, right now, this is showing signs of it being a fluke. And if we see the delta pop, okay, that's a clear sign. And then also if the SPY starts to pop, that's a clear sign that this is just like a bullshit sell-off. I mean, look at Tesla. It is not stopping. It is unencumbered by the news. MicroStrategy continuing to go and go and go. We have Bitcoin actually almost at 95,000. I think we just have to kind of weather this storm. And what we're really waiting for is just to see if the delta can once again catch a bid. We're just waiting to see if calls are bought and puts are sold. But you could see right here, whatever that news was, it caused all these bots to sell their calls and buy puts, all at 10:22. And then they kind of misread the news, and all of a sudden the puts were, I guess, sold. They were bought, then they were sold, and now they're awkward, but it is still causing the calls to bleed a bit. And unfortunately, we're still seeing this fresh low here. I am currently not in a position, if you are curious. I had one trade. It's getting hit again. The SPY is getting hit right here. Look at that delta. The past 20 seconds, just smash. Looking at the Mag 7. But the Mag 7 popped, kind of gave it back. The Mag 7 is trying to fight these individual names: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla. Either one of these or a combination of these, and obviously probably relates to Tesla. Tesla's just ripping, folks. It is just ripping. Look at Tesla. All right. Well, apparently we might be seeing a fresh low here. The SPY just made a fresh low, breaking below the initial balance, that first hour candle. The 5-minute is now bearish. The 10-minute is now bearish. The 30-minute is bearish, and the 4 hour is now bullish. 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, 30-minute is testing on the NASDAQ. I think this will be pretty important of, do we break this 9 a.m. low? If we break that, I think the bears actually do gain the upper hand. But if we can hold here and we never really encroach on that 9 a.m. low, we might be good. The SPY is definitely showing a bit more weakness. Feels like SPY is heading to 540. I don't. What do you mean feels like? What kind of trading strategy is that? That's something it feels like. It feels like. What are you feeling? Because I would argue it's just look at the flow. Look at Mag 7's actually popping. S&P 500 is trying to recover. If it does recover, if we can take out this delta high at 1025, I think we go back to yesterday's high and then we decide there. But this idea of it feels like you're by definition, you shouldn't trade with your gut, and you're basically saying, yeah, I trade with my gut. Like, that's silly. That's a silly way to engage in this market. You know that people who trade with their gut lose money, and then yet you're saying, yeah, no, it feels like it. Like, that's just another way to say you're trading with your gut. Like, give me an actual measurable, like a mathing. Like, let's go empirical. Tell me, what are you looking at? Is it the flow of options? Is it support? Is it resistance? Like, this idea of it, like, that's just recency bias. You saw red bars and your little monkey brain, like, all of our dumb little monkey brain said, oh, there's red, so there must be more red. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true at all. I could say, nope, we're just in the transition zone. So remember, transition zone is not bullish or bearish. It's no man's land. So I care which way we shoot out of this transition zone. If we shoot out to the top side, great, bullish. If we shoot out to the bottom side, great, bearish. But this idea of it feels, no, it should feel neutral. It should feel like, no, we don't know what's going on. I trade purely with emotions and astrology. Well, that's a different story. Trading with astrology, that's a measurable edge. Oh, my bot just went long. At this trend line. It was sitting there from before. It was basically taking this breakout from 1025. This is more of a C plus setup. The trade earlier today, I would argue, was an A minus. This one's a little bit more suspect. It's much more in the realm of, are we catching a falling knife? Much more in the realm of, are we catching a falling knife? All right, that's the most I could go for. What was the high of the day? Nope, that was overnight. All right, this is my second trade of the day, and I should probably stop after this. This should probably be my last trade of the day. Way back when I was on that heater from December to the start of March, one of my rules was at max 2 trades a day. Obviously, my first trade of the day was a bust, so do you want to count it? Do you not want to count it? Obviously, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But with it being a Friday, of course, from a psychology standpoint, I would love to say, yeah, I'm sticking to my rules. This is my only trade. And it would be really easy to stick to that if we just break out, recover, I hit my target. I'm like, of course, I'm done on the day. But where your rules get tested is where things go wrong. It is super, super easy to stick to your rules when everything is going right. It's the question of, do you stick to your rules when the market is kicking your balls into your pelvis? So it's more of, what will my psychology be like? What will my commentary be like if we get smacked right here and we drop all the way down, it knocks me out, and then we recover off of that and we start to break again? Will I trade again? So we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. Like I said, it is easier to be disciplined and to do what you're supposed to do when everything's working. It's super easy to stick to it then. And the question is how disciplined are you, and how much can you stick to your actual strategy when things are blowing up in your face? That's a completely different question. But what I'm seeing here, like I said, my bot just took that trade. I see the Mag 7 is at a new delta high. I see the S&P 500 is attempting to recover, as in it's at least no longer bleeding. Similar to the first trade, or in comparison to the first trade, not as quality of a setup. It just truly isn't, the math behind it. That first trade setup was a legit A minus trade. This is more of like a C plus, like just above average, because it's going bullish in the transition zone. And you're basically saying, hey, no, I'm confident we're going to break out of the transition zone. Now, to be fair, this is when the bot fired. So I'm taking the trade because I'm a little bit more optimistic of this Mag 7 flow. But it could turn on a moment's notice. The way we turned at 1020, 1021, even though at that, like right before we were looking bullish. Yeah, I mean, on a moment's notice, this could be a God candle up. It could also be a horrific sell-off, which tells me I'm going to give it a little bit of room here. I'm going to override the system a little bit and just be more aggressive with my stop management, just because I'm not in love with it. So I'm probably going to move my stop up to break even earlier than the system would actually call for, just because, like I said, I'm not necessarily in love with what's going on. So I'm going to give this a second to breathe. What is it? It's 10:38. It's a good time. We could get some trends. We could get some reversals. I like that we took out this high. I like that we took out this high. Not necessarily in love that we kept making fresh lows. So in this situation, yes, we do have a higher high, but we also have lower lows. If we push and we break VWAP, yes, then we would have a higher low. And I'm playing the transitional switch in trend. But that's not guaranteed yet. And because of that, that's why if I were to be self-critical, I would call this trade setup more of like a C plus rather than the first one, which once again was truly a great setup. For a poker metaphor, the first trade I was playing was pocket kings. This one, I don't know. I guess it's more of playing with like suited connectors. I'm playing with like an 8-9 suited connector, but I am at least in position. Maybe that's a good metaphor here where, I don't know, might turn out being something awesome if I could trap another player. But from the initial cards I was dealt, I'm not playing with the best hand, because it does require a lot of this, of will I get this VWAP break? Will I get this VWAP break? All right, the system is calling for me to move my stop up to 42, so I'm going to move it up to 42. It's now calling for me to move it up to 49, so I'm going to move it up to 49. As you're about to witness, if we break VWAP, I'm going to override the system and be even more aggressive with my stop management than the system calls for, just because I'm worried that it could be a legit rejection at VWAP. So I'm going to give it a second. I might give it one test because I know that we could get rejected and I don't want to get wicked out. So I might give it one test, but on any following tests, I'll probably move my stop up. I mean, I could move it up to 80, 90, so that would be a $400 risk. That's not so bad. A $400 hit is very, very recoverable, and that would eat slightly into my profits from yesterday. And then if I'm mature enough to actually end my trading day there, that's fine. I go in, I survive the day. I might. I'm looking at this wick right here at 1038. I'm thinking about moving my stop up there, because if I get knocked out, that's a $450 hit, and that is very survivable, like very, very survivable. All right. Yeah. I'm going to do it. Okay. So, yes, I am still taking on risk. I overrode my system. My system is actually calling for my risk to be at 60. I moved it up to 88. And it's just because if we somehow get rejected here, whatever. I took a risk. It didn't pay off. I'd take a hit. It would be a loss on the day. But if I'm mature enough to actually get the fuck out and move on with my life, I could think about it over the weekend, and one good trade on Monday could make all that money back and then some. So it's just, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. And actually, I just went up $1,000. I have no system that, or like stats that call for this, but mentally, to go up $1,000 per account and then somehow lose money, it feels really fucking stupid. It feels really, really stupid. Yeah, no, it does. Whatever, freebie play. If it comes back, I just don't want to be that guy on a Friday after having a rough trading patch, going up $1,000 per account, up $25,000 to then lose money. Doesn't feel smart. Doesn't like I said, I don't have any stats to back that up, especially in a high vol environment like this. But I do have psychology commentary of you feel really fucking retarded to go up 25 grand and then be like, oh, how'd that trade play out? And be like, oh, I actually lost money. Like, what do you mean you went up 25 grand and you lost money? So like I said, that right there is not math based, but it is like psychology based of like, you just feel fucking dumb. You feel like real dumb to go up that much money to somehow lose it. Now, it's one thing if I'm break even, because I know I overrode the system. Right now, oddly enough, the system is actually calling to put my risk at 90, which is more reasonable because it's a bit farther away, gives it a bit more breathing room, and it lessens the chances of me getting wicked out. But, hey, this is how I feel trading today. This is how I feel trading today. So once again, my stop's at break even. This is my second trade of the day. The first one did get knocked out for break even. If I can catch a runner, I catch a runner. But I should. This is how I feel like I should be trading. And then there's those times where I decide to take on a bit more risk. And I'm like, no, like I'm really confident. And like I try to let it go one way or the other. And then those are the times where it gets out of hand. And then I just don't manage it quickly enough. So I would rather err on this side of caution. I really would. I think it's just better for me where I'm at because I've just had pretty much ever since that Rose Garden event, I've really had a rough patch of trading. So when you're in a hole, stop digging. And later on, if I have more buffer, I could take on more of a risk. And right now, I think this is the smart move. I do. How are you up 25K and making a loss? Well, no, my accounts, right, they were up 1,000 each. I have 25 different accounts right here on the screen, 25 different accounts. Right now, they're up 700 each times 25. So I'm up for whatever that would be. It's like 17K or something. But at one point right here on this push, I was up 1,000 each. And I guess I don't get the question. How would it become a loss? Well, it would become a loss if the market drops and I get out below the value I got in. I don't know. It's just, how are you up 25K? Have you traded before, dude? I have an unrealized position, as in it's live. It's not locked in. If it goes against me, it could theoretically turn into a loss. I don't know. This is just fucking trading, dude. This is just like a basic axiom of trading. But as you can see, this red line, I put my stop order right above where I'm in. So if it does come down, it's going to knock me out at break even, which would be my second break even of the trade. But you can see right now above me, I'm trading 25 different accounts. They're all up just below $1,000, which means I'm up net just below 25 grand. But I'm not closing out the position because if it goes more, I can make more money. And I'm willing to take on that risk of, the other option is it comes down and I make no money. And that's different. That's your personality, your risk tolerance of if you're up 25 grand and there's some statistical chance of you making more money, would you take it? Yes, no, maybe so. And obviously you could say that at any value. If you're up 5 grand, if you're up at 1 grand, would you take it? Some people, the number's even higher. They're like, okay, like I'm either going for 200K or I don't know. It's per person, it's per account, it's per your personality, it's per your account size. Right now, I'm trading on $1.25 million worth of capital. So I have $1 million in Apex and $250,000 in take profit. So I'm trading on $1.25 million of capital. So when I'm going for 25 grand, like percentage wise, I think that's actually like a reasonable thing. I mean, I'm up, I don't even know, like you could do like it's dynamic, but I think 75K when you're trading 1.25 million, I think 75K is like a pretty fair ratio. I think if you're trading a $5,000 account and you're up 25K, yeah, take it. Like that proportion is huge. When you're trading on 1.25 million, okay, like there's a ratio there. Can you swing trade futures? You can, but not on sim to funded accounts. You can on your own futures account, but if you're doing sim to funded like Apex or Take Profit, you can't. I am watching this low. I'm thinking about moving my, like, see how we push right above VWAP, but it's not necessarily liking being up here. I'm actually thinking about moving my stop up. And then I make about $400 on the day, and I go on to the weekend, or 400 per account. Once again, that would be then multiplied by 25. Is it going to hold? It's just basically, is VWAP going to hold? VWAP is this white dashed line, the volume weighted average price. This is the average price that that trades have been transacted at. It's commonly thought to be bullish above and bearish below, because if this is the average transaction, well, then the average person is like profitable up here if they're a bull, which most people are bullish. And if you're down here, that means that the average person is actually underwater, because you're below that average transaction value, and it resets every day. So obviously it's up there just because it ends up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. A lot of people react to it, of the breakout, the breakdown, the reaction. And I'm just hoping that it can actually hold, because we are dancing. I just want to see this beautiful pop out of there. The old VWAP support trade. We ripped above it, tested it. We went above it, tested it again, popped up again, and we are once again just testing it. Will it hold? Your guess is as good as mine. All I can tell you is I have my risk under control, because my stop is at break even. My stop is at break even. We are battling. Not only is it VWAP, but it's also the closing value on the SPY and SPX from yesterday. So that's another reason we're running into some resistance. Yeah, so there's multiple reasons right now. And yeah, right here, we literally ran right up to not only the closing value from yesterday, but we're right at VWAP on the NASDAQ futures market. So there's a couple reasons why we're dancing around here. And I don't know which way it's going to break. And anyone telling you they do know which ways it's going to break is completely full of shit, and they're lying to you. So because of that, from a risk reward paradigm, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I have some skin in the game just in case it does break in my favor and it rips. I make 75K. Now, because it's gone enough in my favor, if it were to break down, well, okay, that sucks, but at least I didn't lose any money. This is a free play for me. It's a free play. Now, of course, you might view it differently. You could be like, yeah, I get that it's a free play. Of either you're out for nothing or you make a shitload of money, or you could just get out now and lock in roughly $20,000. Well, once again, that's from trader to trader to do whatever you think is appropriate per situation. But what I can tell you is most profitable traders I know, when they have a good trade, they let it ride. When they have a bad trade, they cut it quickly. This is my own interpretation of, if I have a good trade, which you don't know until it's over, this is me trying to let it ride. And then if I'm wrong, well, this is me getting out quickly. So that entire mantra of let your winners ride and cut your losers quickly, that's what I'm trying to play off right here. Of course, I want it to break in my favor, but I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't know what Trump's about to tweet. I don't know what Citadel's about to trade. I don't know what Warren Buffett's about to do. Might send the market up, might send the market down. So these orders and this structure and this mindset is exactly my interpretation of cut your losers quickly, and I'm cutting it at break even. And if you have a winner, let it ride. It's that simple. It's honestly just that simple. When you are using VWAP to help make decisions, why do you choose a particular time frame? Like, I noticed you trade on 500 shake mostly, but why do you use VWAP based on a time frame? VWAP doesn't change per time frame. It's just the volume weighted average price. I could switch this to the 1 tick. I could switch this to the 30-minute. VWAP doesn't change per time frame. That wouldn't make sense. It's the volume weighted average price. It's the average transaction for that trading session. It has nothing to do with time. It resets every trading session, but I don't know who taught you that VWAP changes based on your time frame, but it doesn't. That would make it useless. Hey, Victor, could you do me a favor and everyone else a favor and shut the fuck up? Spamming Head and Shoulders makes you seem idiotic. Head and Shoulders, Head and Shoulders, Head and Shoulders. Victor, seriously, like, do me a favor, everyone else a favor, do your mom a favor and shut the fuck up. Dude, people who spam. Victor, what? Stop. You're just going to get banned. Shut the fuck up, Victor. God damn, dude. Doing this job, you deal with some of the dumbest fucking people. You're embarrassing your mother. God damn, just shut the fuck up. Now we're just waiting. We obviously we were bullish, we consolidated, we puked, we consolidated, we pumped, and now we just consolidated. I have no idea which way we break. We might break to the upside, we might break to the downside. All I could tell you is we're literally in real time battling it out at VWAP, which also on today's action happens to simultaneously be another giant battleground for the SPY and SPX, really the S&P 500 of yesterday's closing value. It's just this red to green move can commonly be resistance, so that's what we're having. I have no idea which way it breaks. I just have a free lottery ticket. If it breaks up, I get paid. That's the direction of my free lottery ticket. There's probably other people out there who have free lottery tickets for it breaking down. And if it breaks down, they get paid. But the point of it is not the getting paid point. It's the point of you have no risk. Think about it like this. If you have 20 lottery tickets that were all free, you don't care if any of them hit. Of course, you would like more to hit, but it's no risk to you. It's no financial detriment to you. So for me, that's how I'm looking at it. Remember, there's no pattern day trading when it comes to futures. No pattern day trading. So for me, it's a lotto ticket. If we break out, great. If I get paid. If it goes against me, I don't give a shit. Like, whatever. Of course, I want it to. Like, psychologically, I want this to go up. Of course, I want to make money. I'm human. I'm a greedy little fuck like all of you. But in reality, if it doesn't go my way, it doesn't hurt me. There's no detriment to me. How aggressively do you move your stop when building a buffer? When building a buffer, generally I do what I did yesterday and just like risk it for the biscuit. And on that one trade, just try to fill out my entire buffer, which is not how I like to trade. Victor is the reason they made Minecraft movies. Victor, some people are just dumb. Oh, we got a Kremlin update. Kremlin update. Hang on, we got some hot news. There was discussion of renewing negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. All right, that might be positive. All right, here, I'm going to set up an alert for a potential reversal here. And then I want a NASDAQ breakout alert. And then I want a SPY breakout. All right, so I put a high and a low alert on this range that we've got ourselves into around 1040. Obviously, we popped, we puked, we popped, and now we're range bound. So I just have alerts for breakouts and breakdowns. But like I said, it's just a struggle. We don't know which way it's going to go. We don't know which way it's going to go. Russia and the U.S. Are to continue active dialogue, according to the IFX. I have no idea what that is, but seemingly positive news. And on that news, we got a little bit of a push in the market. Nothing crazy. We are still obviously on the bullish side of the transition zone, but we are not getting that follow through. Obviously, I am watching 5490 followed by 5500 on SPX. The 5-minute is trying to be bullish. The 10-minute is having a hell of a time. The 30-minute saved itself and is still bullish. The 5-minute is bullish. The 10-minute is trying to hold, and the 30-minute saved itself. So on a relative basis, tech sector is doing better. On a relative basis, the tech sector is trying to hold above the high from yesterday, while the SPY is trying to get green from yesterday. So we are seeing a little bit more optimism on various ways to break it down. But in all reality, we have gone nowhere since 1040. We've been perfectly sideways since 1040, so we just got to wait. Here's a look at the options flow. SPY going a little bit funky on us. We pumped, flat, dumped, bottom, ripped again, going flat. So vol is picking up clearly there. And on the Mag 7, we just had a nice grind up until about 1048, and now a little bit of a bleed off, but overall that was a new delta high. And we are just not getting this follow through that I want at all. So here's the pain, is my system is actually calling for me to put my risk at 290. Like I alluded to before, I'm being more aggressive because I'm not in love with this setup. The system is saying put your risk at 290, which if that were to get hit, that would be a 20-point hit, which would be $400. So I'd be actually net down 400. But here, if I get hit, which, like I said, I am front running the system, this would be more break even. So there's a higher chance of me getting knocked out, but it's also more protective. And the reason I chose to go this particular path is just because I didn't love the setup. But here it's about, I just got knocked. Break even. knocked at break even, literally just perfectly hit me out. I'm curious if the system would have been right if we never come back down to 90. I'll feel smart if it does dip to 90, because then that would have unfortunately put me down 400. But if it's one of these things where we bounce right out of here and the system was right all along, I'll be a little bit bummed. But it is whatever. That's the trade-off. That, like, folks, like I told you, somewhere between 30 and 50% of the time, I get knocked out for break even. It is what it is. I'm not saying that's the appropriate trading style for everyone, but it is the appropriate trading style for me. It really works well with my mental framework of how to engage with the market. I really, really enjoy it. Just because it gives me a lot of free lotto plays. And this game of trading is truly just, can you minimize your risk? It's just a game of minimize your risk, minimize your risk, minimize your risk, which even that's why I even overrode the system and put my stop at break even. But knowing my luck here, this is going to be the low and it's going to bounce off of it. Yeah, that's totally what's going to happen. That's the trade-off. That is the trade-off, folks. Sometimes it be that way. I just didn't want to take on the risk of going red. And you could argue that it was maybe a bit too conservative, but if this dips and hits 89, then I save myself a little bit of money. We're just waiting. So obviously the initial push was to the downside, but even that seems like we're waking back up. Please read Big Fat Rambo's comment. Big Fat Rambo. Plot twist. Victor has dandruff and has nothing to do with trading. Could be. He's just screaming. He's like a shill for the shampoo and conditioner industry. You got to get your head and shoulders. Why didn't you get the 1K when you had the chance? That is a super stellar question that I have not answered at all in this stream. It's such a phenomenal question, Fernando. Why didn't I top tick the exit? God damn, that's such a phenomenal question. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I buy there, sell here, buy there, sell there, buy there, sell there, buy... Fuck, man. You might be on to something. Why did I not top tick that exit? That's such a fucking good question. Fernando, I never thought of it that way. I never, ever... Why did I just not get out at the literal best fucking price I possibly could have? This is mind-blowing to me. I'm going to have to reconsider this. I'm going to have to reconsider my entire trading career. Why didn't I just get out? Because that would make sense. Like, if you get out at the best value, that is the most money. Fuck, dude, I never thought of it like that. Why didn't I just do that? Maybe I'll give that a try next week. Is just getting out at the top, go long at the bottom and go short at the top. I think we're on to something. I think we're on to something. Damn, dude. So you're saying I should buy low and sell high. Would that math work? Like, if you get in at a low value and then ride that low value to a high value and then go short at that high value and then ride it. I think that would work. I'd have to talk to the boys in the lab about that one. But I think that math checks out. I believe that math checks out. I don't want to embarrass myself and say something wrong, but I think that makes sense. I think that would work. I really do. And like I said, I might think about this over the weekend. I might have to read a book or two, but I think Fernando's on to something. Jesus fucking Christ. Some people. If you ever want to know what it's like bashing your head off a wall without actually bashing your head off a wall, I recommend you become a streamer. I do. If you're ever like, I wonder what that sensation is like, I would just highly recommend you bash your head off the wall. If you're like, okay, is that a similar feeling? Like, what's that a similar feeling to? Try streaming. That would be the fastest way for you to like speed run. You're like, well, you know, like when you see people bashing their head off the wall and you're like, oh, I wonder what that feels like. If you want to know what that feels like without doing it, just start streaming. Are you even a streamer? Dude, Tom from MySpace. You tell me, man. You're literally the creator of the internet. You tell me, brother. You tell me. You are the internet. Can you explain how the buffer works? Intraday trading drawdown rules if your balance is above the buffer. If your balance is above the buffer, your buffer just gets auto set to like 50,100. It's whatever your starting account value is plus $100. It just gets anchored there. There's no more intraday drawdown. Fuck, dude. My system's going long right now. Do I take it? Do I take it? The system just fired long, but the question is do I want to take it? Oh, do I want to take it? Damn, the system never got tagged. It never got tagged. I would be back being in the green. I don't mind that because all I did was minimize my own risk. Do I want to do it? It's not noon. It's not noon. What's the flow look like? SPY's picking back up. Mag 7's picking back up. All right. All right. I'm letting it go. This is my final one of the day. I'm getting tired, but basically the push below the close and the high and the recapture, I like it. The push below the close. This is the one thing I don't like is like we're not necessarily sitting on top, but I do like that we're continually sitting on top of this transition zone. Notice how we bounced right off of it. Like that actually would have been a really nice entry, the wick into the transition zone and the push. But 1, 2, 3. Who knows? Maybe this is a quad rejection. I don't know. That's the risk I'm taking. But this is it. I'm done. This is my trade. I've had 2 break-even trades. And then this is, as you can see, I'm kind of just risking this zone right here. And we're going to see how it goes. Same as before, as it goes a bit in my favor. If we get up to 390 to 400, obviously my stop's going to break even. There's a good chance, there's a good statistical chance that I end up getting wicked out again. This one is a little bit of a bummer. As I told you guys, I wanted to be very protective because I didn't like the trade. But I told you that the stop was at 90. We dipped to 95. So theoretically, if I followed this system perfectly, I would still be in this trade and I'd be up that grand per account, but I don't mind it because it could have easily broke and then I could have been red on it. So like I care much more about the protection than I do the profit. If you are hell bent on your like risk management, you're going to survive the game. And that's how you make money in this game, to survive the marathon that is trading. It's just like, what is your risk? What is your risk? What is your risk? So there's a good chance even this time around on any pump, even though I'd probably be out early if I kept that original one, the trade-off there was I was protecting my downside. And then, of course, like sometimes you're going to get that bad break. But similar to the first two trades, on a bit of a push here, a bit of a movement in my favor, 80, 90, 400, somewhere in this zone up here. Yeah, stop to break even. And we're going to see lotto ticket, lotto ticket, lotto ticket, lotto ticket. That's pretty much what I'll be doing. But with that being said, we're still kind of range bound. Technically, we haven't broken out yet, but we're getting like awkwardly close. Tesla's looking great. MicroStrategy's looking great. Here's a look at the flow before I dip. S&P 500, nice pop there. Mag 7, new Delta high. We're taking a bit of a breather, but yeah, we're going to see how it goes. I do like that the SPX is above the closing value. Watch 4,890 from there, 5,500. As we saw once today at 940 and then again at 1012. Expect a big fight here. It's a key technical level, psychological level, and an open interest level. So expect a big fight there. But if in the event that the bulls win that fight, I would be then looking for a push all the way up to 5545, which is where we see the Captain Condor position all the way up here at 5545, which is 30,000. As you can see, quite a bit of positive gamma. So what I'm looking for is for price to start to go, because then this is going to act like a magnet. This is going to be kind of like a black hole with a lot of gravity, and it's going to suck it to that point. Now to break that gravitational pull, oops, what did I just do? How do I zoom out? It could be difficult to break out of it, but this very much, it has a these purple, blue, whatever you want to call it, that's a gravitational pull. It's definitely a pull in price. So whichever way you break, yeah, it could pull it there. But on the other side, if we broke down, it could have easily pulled it all the way down here. Another black hole gravity situation. I mean, 30,000 contracts. That's a big size. Definitely has an influence on the market. But anyway, that's what I have for you. As you guys can see right here, I'm roughly break even. I'm not really green. I'm not really red. This is my third trade of the day. I'm hoping that the market breaks. You can see where my risk currently is. I hope it doesn't come all the way down there. I hope VWAP does hold. I have that as a bit of a support, but I'll be the first to admit that the market is having a hell of a time breaking through, kind of similar to yesterday, where it just like, it took hours and hours for that shit to actually grind up. So we're going to see it, but I'm just going to go hang out in the Discord and see how this one particularly plays out. If you're curious about how this plays out for me, I'm letting you know this right now. This is my final trade of the day. So before I let you go, my realized gain is currently break even. It's between 10 and 20 bucks. Right now, my unrealized is pretty much break even. Later today on Twitter/X, whatever the hell you want to call it, I will be posting it. So feel free to check that if you want to know how this trade plays out for me. Obviously, I'll post pictures and whatnot. The Qs just made a fresh high. The SPY didn't. But anyway, shout out to Take Profit Trader, TPT. Yesterday and the day before, Apex was the best offer if you want to trade with someone else's money. Today, if you want to trade with someone else's money, the best financial offer for you is Take Profit Trader. Both Apex and Take Profit Trader, I like them. I just buy the accounts that are currently the cheapest. Right now, Take Profit Trader is the best financial deal. And to get that deal, whenever you're checking out, do not forget to apply that code Goonie. If you don't apply it, you're not going to get the deal. So to save money, and a lot of money, make sure you are using that code Goonie on any of these things, but specifically when you're checking out, it's kind of dark. Sometimes I miss it, but like right when you're filling out your like credit card information and everything, right there is that coupon section. So I'm telling you, make sure you are putting it in. Just don't forget it. If you want to save the money, if you want to get the deal, don't forget that code GOONIE pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. And we're getting a little bit of a break. Should we? All right, here, I'll stay for a little bit just to show you guys how I manage this risk. All right. Just because you guys are being so nice to me today, I will stay for a second just to see how this breakout happens. I'll stay. Is it a real breakout or not? I'll stay just for a little bit. If this becomes a trade like yesterday when I'm in it for hours, I'm not going to do it. That was like physically tiring. But shit. Is it a fake out breakout? We literally just took out those highs and it's getting smoked. All right. Whenever we get breakouts like that, I like to mark the recent low, like the breakout bar's low, just to see if the market is actually sending it back below it. Like the longer the breakout bar's low holds, the more confident I become. That's more of like just my own mental, I guess, security on the situation. But let's see here. Let's see. Oh, I should also. Where are we at? Where is my Discord? Before I post that, I need to check the math here. Oh. Right now, it looks like the bounds on the day from the current trades are 5525 to the upside. It looks like we're going to have a tough time breaking that. As of now, of course, that could change. And to the downside, it looks like we're going to have a tough time breaking 5,425. So as of now, the current intraday bets, the 0 DTE intraday bets, we seem to be bounded by that 100-point range of 5525 and 5425. And of course, obviously that's only 11. So there's a lot of trades. So that whole dynamic could switch, but I'm just saying like kind of a freeze frame of the current information. A freeze frame of the current information. Here's a look at the flow. SPY's doing nothing. Mag 7 picked up, hit a new delta high. So the tech, dude, look at Tesla just rip. MSTR is up a lot as well. So Tesla's the biggest gainer, followed by MSTR. Coins up there as well. Meta's up there. Amazon had a decent day. VIX is collapsing, down 2%. It's just been puking over the past couple days now. Dude, look at Tesla just go. Look at Tesla just go, man. Okay, if you are in the Discord, Piper did fire, so I should give you guys that. Don't forget to sign up for the Discord. Your first month is free. 25th. What is this flow looking like? All right. If you're in the Discord, Piper just fired. Yeah, all right. Any of you, Piper did fire. Time to empty the litter box. All right. 50. Once again, you're going to witness me front running the strategy, but if we push 400, I'm moving my stop to break even. I don't want to take risk. I mean, you could argue that I'm over trading. I mean, I'm not really, because my first two trades were break even. It's not like I'm chasing a loser or anything like that, but it's getting to like kind of the awkward portion of the day where things like kind of slow down and there's a lot of chop and it feels as if you waste like a ton of time effectively just doing nothing. So what I'm looking for is another aggressive movement. Actually, speaking of that, where would it be? Where's the bot? 08. Well, I guess I could at least move it up right now. The bot's calling for 08, this low at 1101. So I at least took some risk off the table. Right now, my max risk is 40 points, so $800. So the worst case scenario is I lose 800, which, yeah, I am not happy about, because had I kept that original position, which I kind of like unfortunately got stopped out of, what was that position? I was in at 10, so I would be up $1,200 per account, but instead I'm up $200. So that little maneuver cost me 50 points. So not the most stoked about that, but hey, if we could get follow through, which the follow through seems to not be happening right now. Seems to, the Qs are trying to get going, but the NASDAQ is not really having it. Not necessarily having it. You know, if I had enough buffer, I would literally use this low at 1057, whatever that was. Shit. The SPY getting rejected at that high. Yeah, getting rejected at the high from yesterday. All these undecided candles. Even the Qs giving that back. Son of a gun, we're speeding up. What happened? The change of the hour? Mag 7 still kind of holding. We're right back to VWAP. This is literally perfectly VWAP. Something's going on with the SPY. What is happening with the SPY? Yeah, like in real time, you can see the options are getting dumped right here. Is there news that I'm missing? See how it started to get dumped at 11:15, sped up, and then really sped up at 11:17? Why? Is this just a fluke, or like what the hell is going on? Look at that. Someone buying a ton of puts. Lots of puts being bought at 11:17. 0 DT puts too. Just the delta. Why? Oh, why? Why are they doing that? And then we're bouncing right back. Feels like yesterday where it's the trade from hell. But overall, we're still range bound since 1040. Like we really, yes, we had a push to the upside, push to the downside, push to the upside, push to the downside. And then after this push, we 1040 till now, a little fake out breakout, a bigger fake out breakdown, a bigger fake out break. Like we're just not going anywhere. What? I'm not seeing any news. I think that's just a trader. I think that's literally just a trader splash in the pot. A trader splash in the pot. My gut instinct is once again be aggressive, and I'm trying to figure out how I could be aggressive with this stop management. Part of me is thinking literally using this low that we just tagged. Granted, it is a bit early because like we're not even done with this bar yet. 5 minutes bullish. 10 minute is having the worst time breaking out. Look at hit, like try to get going, smacked right away. This 10 minute EMA, the 50 EMA is holding like a motherfucker. 5 minutes bullish. So, and tech's better. This is the issue right here. It's this 10 minute breakout. It is the close and the high of yesterday. The market, like the tech sector wants to go, but the SPY, like it's just not getting that follow through. And then we're seeing random shit like this where people are just buying puts for whatever reason. Yeah, now we're flat. While the Mag 7 strong. Folks, tech is looking good. Something in the SPY is holding it back. Is it energy? Not really. Is it financials? Kind of. It's probably financials. Utilities, not looking so good. Industrials, Healthcare, better. Real estate, not so good. So what about consumer staples? Yeah, that's not so good. Consumer discretionary. Discretionary is fine. So the major culprit I see is financials. Financials, the financial subsector of the S&P 500 is just having a bitch of a time getting going today, while tech wants to go. Matt, does the broker charge you when you move your stop or your take profit? No. No broker in the world would ever charge you for moving your pending orders. That would be insane. Absolutely insane. If you're on a broker that charges you to move your orders, don't trade on that broker. I've never heard of a broker in my entire trading career who charges you to move your where your pending orders are. That would be fucking insanity. If I've never heard of it, and I don't think you are on a brokerage, but if you are on a brokerage that does that, run away as fast as you possibly can. China just exempted some form of 125. Dude, you are so many hours late on that news. So many. It's actually funny how late you are on that news. I'm thinking about moving my stop right now and just saying, fuck it. Like, if it comes, that's a random area. I mean, my long is at 54. There's probably an argument for putting it at 34, that recent low, but I'm actually legitimately thinking about just moving it right now and just like another lottery ticket play. And like, if it goes, it goes. If not, fuck it. Like, it's not my day type of a situation. Yeah, fuck this. I'm doing it. Why take on any risk, you know? Stops break even. Another lottery ticket play. I moved it absurdly early. There is a very, very high chance of this getting stopped out, but I cannot clarify this enough. If I get stopped out, it's no harm to me. It would be my third break-even trade of the day, which is fine, like whatever, because you only need one big runner trade to make $75,000. So like, think about it like this. If I told you you have 10 trades, 9 of them are going to be break-even, and your 10th trade you make $50, $75, $100,000, I think we would all take that. I think we would all 100% take that. So that's how I view it, is like, I am psychologically all right with and accepting that I'm going to get stopped out break even on a lot, but it protects me from taking large losses, which is why I blew my accounts out in early March and basically gave back $800,000, is because I wasn't trading like this. I was taking on too much risk, which means that I won a lot more because I gave everything a lot more breathing room. But you only need that one bad beat to go against you, that you give it breathing room and you give it more breathing room and you give it more breathing room, and it just keeps going against you and against you and against you. And before you know it, you blow the fuck out. So this is how I'm trading now, or this is how I'm attempting to trade. And granted, this is whatever, Friday the 25th, and I'm seemingly trading well. But the issue is you have to trade, for me at least, I need to trade like this every single day in and day out, because the second you take one misstep is that day that you could blow out your account. So is it going well for me today? Yeah, it's going well for me today. And then for those of you who are curious, the system would have my risk currently at this low, at whatever this is, 35. So yeah, I'm front running it by 20 points the way I did before. And granted, had I not front run it before, I would still be in a very profitable position right now. Whatever. Like, I'm not going to fucking cry about it. I'm proud of the trade. You might agree with it. You might disagree with it. But I would much rather not take on any risk. So that's what I've done. I just need one runner to make some money, and whatever. It is what it is. You might agree with it. You might disagree with it. But I need to trade my account and you need to trade your account. And that's the beauty of it. All right. The SPY is now once again having an issue at the high from yesterday. Right here, we're having an issue at 54.90. If it gets going, we have some highs at 97, 98. It's just up here, 5,500. This, if in the event we get up here, it would be the third distinct test. Do not be surprised if we struggle there, because we've already been struggling there, and the options flow in itself has already been looking a little funky. I'd be more confident of that breakout if, like, you see this pump right here, that pump, if it keeps looking like that, okay, yeah, we have a shot. But if the S&P 500 looked the way the Mag 7 does right now, we're looking golden. But that's a big fucking if. Which has happened. Oh, I don't know why I moved that alert there. The alert should be, don't worry. Oh, you guys can't hear the alerts anyway. Sorry, I have that sound turned off, probably because it would be super, super annoying. But yeah, I'm looking at this high from whenever we started selling back here at like this 1018 bar. I'm on the 3-minute chart. Whenever we started selling right here, I'm looking to see if the SPY and the Qs can push that. Damn, dude, it's going to come and knock me out. Fuck, this is so infuriating. Especially because, like, at any point, any of these trades would have been fine and made me my money, but just because I'm being so hell-bent. And I think this is a good mental exercise, is to get beat up in the way where you're like, dude, if I took on risk, it would have been fine. Just to instill that and be like, okay, yeah, like, you could play that game of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but at the end of the day, you never know the next bar. I have my risk here because the next bar could be that like dagger red bar, and there could be an announcement, and this could be like 300 points in a minute. We've been seeing it recently, and I could blow my accounts out. I don't want to take that risk. In fact, I don't even want to take this risk. And that's the realistic point. Like, if I had more buffer, I would be risking 35. I'd be like, nope, it's VWAP. It's this recent low. Great. And instead, I'm risking this arbitrary level that is seemingly very close to getting knocked out. And it is what it is. Like I said, this style, the psychology of it is not for everyone. There are certain people who you can't, like, it's not the easiest thing to be on the right side of everything, but you see yourself still getting wicked out. It's not easy. So I'm not by any means campaigning that everyone should trade this way. But for me, it's just where I'm at with these accounts, and it's what I need to do. There is literally nothing special about this level besides the fact of where it's on break even. If I were looking at key levels of the chart, yes, I'd be looking at 35 and I'd be looking at 93. I'd be looking at the recent high and the recent low. Literally, this is as arbitrary as it's just when I got into this position. I kind of wish I re-entered right here at 36 because look at that. That would have been so nice because then I would have had VWAP. Instead, I'm over it by like 15 points, 10 points, something like that. Actually, 20 points. Son of a bitch. It just is what it is. Oh my God. Why not cash out now? Fucking Josh, dude. I hope you are rage baiting. If you're legitimately asking that question, you just got to listen. I would much prefer that you're being a troll than you like actually asking that question. If you're actually asking that question, just fucking listen to the same thing. In this stream alone, I've now reiterated 15 different times. So if that's a legit non-troll, non-rage bait question, just go back and watch the stream. But why male models? Dude, that's exactly how these questions feel. But why male models? Yeah, this is coming for me. Dude, even 54, you would think like, dude, at least give your shot like a 50 bounce. Like it's as arbitrary. Like I'm just going for pure luck. And that pure luck is seemingly not going my way. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Fuck. And the painful thing is this is going to, like, I think any of these trades would legitimately work too, which is the most painful thing is that, like, I do think at some point we're at least going to be testing those intraday highs and I'd be able to make the money. Dude, Tesla's just ripping right now. It's this fucking financial sector that is just stopping the SPY from going. Whatever. I painfully scratched my way to making $50. Even funny, $50. What is 50? I still ended up making 1.2K. So like, I'm not going to cry. Granted, percentage wise, that's very, very small relative to the capital that I have. But even scratching my way, like just scratch trades, I still made about $1,000. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Like I said, that's it. I got to be done today. I know when I'm losing my edge, and we're 30 minutes away from where it's just like random fucking guessing for me. So if you want to trade with someone else's money, check it out. Take Profit Trader. Use that code Goonie. You have to put it in when you're checking out to get 30% off, and you don't have to pay an activation fee. That is currently the best offer, and these things are very dynamic and they change from day to day. The past 2 days, Apex had the best offer. Right now, Take Profit has the best offer. I trade on 20 Apex accounts and 5 different Take Profit accounts. So check that out. And that's the max you could have. Apex allows you up to 20. Take Profit allows you up to 5. So give it a whirl if you are interested in, like I said, minimizing your trading risk and trading with someone else's capital. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. Unfortunately for me, it was not a big money making day, but it was also not a big money losing day either. 3 scratch trades just didn't work out. Just did not work out. Shit happens. It is what it is. And I don't mind it. Actually, like, I'm actually kind of like proud of those trades. I really, really am. Because like, I think it was just absurdly good risk management skills. And that's kind of what I'm here to do. So that's what I have for you folks. I'm trying to think of anything else. Nothing really. A new evergreen video is coming out. So it's going to relate to, most prominent question that I've been getting recently is what account size to trade when you're trading on Apex or Take Profit. So that video is coming out today on the Evergreen channel. So it'll be up on Rumble. It'll be up on YouTube. Highly recommend you guys check that channel out. It's in the description of the video for both of those respectively. That video is coming out at some point today. So make sure your notifications are on. But it's me explaining how you know what is the perfect account size for you. So be on the lookout for that. That's what I have for you. Best of luck. I hope you make a shitload of money. I will catch you guys on the flippity flip. Peace.